Sports Radio Network. Executive producer is Lance Burgess. For information about this broadcast, contact LSU Sports Properties. The LSU Sports Radio Network is a division of LSUSB and Outfront Sports. Coverage of the 2020 LSU Fighting Tigers is authorized by LSUSB and is intended solely for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast, internet streaming, or other use of the accounts and descriptions of this game without the written consent of LSUSB, Outfront Sports, or the university is prohibited. Sports Radio Network is a division of LSUSB and Outfront Sports.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
Offices in Baton Rouge.
WDGL and HD1 Baton Rouge. Eagle 98.1 Game Day is on the air. Presented by Home Bank. Good for business, good for life. It's time to talk LSU football on the flagship home of the Tigers. Call 225-499-9898. It's Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Now, here's Charles Hannegriff and T-Bob Hebert.
It started with a trick play, and it ended with a goal line stand. And in between, LSU got their ass kicked. Missouri beat LSU up and down the field, crushing a non-existent Tiger defense and making enough plays with their own D to secure the first win for Eli Drinkwitz as the Missouri head coach. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Charles Hannegriff, along with T-Bob Hebert. A 45-41 loss at Missouri today only begins to tell the story. The LSU defense, long the proud standing unit of this program, was absolutely embarrassed. There's no other word for it today. 2 weeks ago, LSU gave up a record number of yards through the air to Mississippi State. Think about that. In the entire history of the Southeastern Conference, nobody had ever thrown for more yards than Mississippi State did 2 weeks ago against LSU. I'm here to tell you, today was worse. If only because everything, and I mean everything, Missouri tried worked. At least 2 weeks ago, you might have explained it away to a gimmick offense. You might have explained it away to bad matchups. You might have explained it away to the loss of Derek Stingley, and I'm certainly not going to minimize that because he's a great player. Today was worse on so many levels because the Tigers look confused. And when you're confused, it leads to lack of execution. And when you sprinkle in a lack of effort on the top of that, then you have what happened today. Nearly 600 yards of total offense, 5.5 yards per gain on the ground, over 400 yards to a freshman quarterback who was only making his second start and has barely been in college football long enough to know better that he shouldn't be able to do that against LSU. The Tigers, time and time again, looked like Missouri could pick any play they wanted to out of their playbook and run it. If somewhere in the press box there was somebody counting stats and said, we want to make sure that everybody gets to eat today, they would have been able to do that. In fact, it looks exactly like what they did today. Too many times you saw LSU pointing fingers at each other. Who's got him? Well, in a lot of cases, nobody. Who's going to tackle him? In a lot of cases, nobody. Who's going to get to Bazelak, the quarterback? In a lot of cases, it was nobody. Even on this day, there were not any individual performances that you would look at and go, well, at least that guy played well on the defensive side of the ball. This was a complete and utter collapse of every unit. Linebackers, which, by the way, I don't even know if they made the game today, and defensive backs. This is defensively right now as poorly coached a football team as you will find in the Southeastern Conference. Pay no attention to the Vanderbilt game from a week ago. We now have sample size on Vandy. They scored 1 touchdown in the first week, 1 touchdown in the second week, and 1 touchdown in the third week. The two words that were most often associated with Vanderbilt's offense in the preseason were historically bad. So you get no credit for that. You also don't get any pass on the Mississippi State game because we saw a team that had not won a Southeastern Conference game in 3 years handle them last week. And I suspect they won't run up and down the field on Kentucky tonight in Lexington. We saw Missouri give up on the ground 230 yards last week to Tennessee. The week before that, give up nearly 6 yards a carry to Najee Harris. Yet we saw LSU not able to run the football at all, to the point where they didn't even try. So let me switch sides of the ball here, because while there's more than enough here to talk about the defense from now until, well, next Saturday, when Florida is going to set records in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. The offense, listen, they did enough to win the game on a lot of things, on most days, on just about any day. They have their problems. They've fallen out of balance. They quit trying to run the football. Where in the hell was John Emery? John Emery was your star a week ago. John Emery looks like he's finally starting to get it. John Emery was one of the top recruited running backs in the country. And now that he's holding on to the football, that's a guy you should play. And a week after his breakout performance, he touched the ball 4 times. Where in the world did John Emery go? Miles Brennan did enough to win today. He stood in there. He took some real shots. Terrace Marshall made himself a ton of money today. At this time next year, Terrace Marshall will be a millionaire many times over. All he's got to do is stay healthy, and up the charts he zooms. But 0 for 10 on third down? I mean, you're now 5 for 27. Somebody tweeted that at me. I didn't go back and look. 5 for 27 on third down, your last 27 third downs. Missouri was 5 out of 10. That's been a problem, too. Couldn't get off the field. Even against Vanderbilt's pathetic offense, 7 out of 17 a week ago. In Ed Orgeron's first full year, LSU lost to Mississippi State in an embarrassing fashion, and they lost to Troy. In Bo Pelini's first season at LSU in 2005, they gave up an alarming amount of yards to a nondescript quarterback at Arizona State and came back and blew a 3-touchdown lead in the second half. In 2005, Bo Pelini got it fixed. In Ed Orgeron's first year, he got it fixed. Neither time was it time to put your arm around somebody and say, it's going to be okay. It's not a pat on the back. It's a kick in the seat. Yep. And LSU needs one in the worst way right now because they got some soul searching to do, T-Bob. That was an embarrassment. I don't use that word lightly, okay? Sometimes you go out and you just get beat. Sometimes, you make some mistakes and things like that. That was embarrassing to watch today if you were an LSU fan.
It was. And I mean, to follow up something like that where so many accurate things were said, it's hard to do. And so I guess I just end up kind of echoing a lot of your points. And we start right there with that word embarrassment, Hanny, because you have now lost 2 games to subpar teams in which you won the turnover battle. That's borderline unthinkable. I mean, what is the oldest cliche in the book when it comes to predicting winners and losers in the game of football? One of the most core aspects of the game is if you win the turnover battle, you should probably win. If you're the more talented team, you will almost win 100% of the time, and you've now lost twice in 2 weeks. And you have to ask yourself, well, how could something so outlandish come true? Because the defense has been outlandishly bad. 2 of the worst defensive performances that I've ever witnessed in my entire life. And I did not get to hear O's postgame. We will get into it. From what I have read, I think his answers leave a lot to be desired. And I'm not someone out here calling for a job because realistically, you put yourself in that spot, you're not going to move on at this point. But there is no reason to be defending what we are all watching, which is, it's just an utter joke. I mean, if the defense had even played below average, don't play well, don't play okay, don't play average. If you had played below average, as opposed to historically bad, you would be 3-0, and we would be talking about an offense with a lot to fix, but a ton of potential, right? But instead, now everything feels that much worse. And I mean, look, we'll get into the specifics a bit more later. And look, to be fair to Bo Pelini, my takes have been Pelini-level defense 2020 bad said A&M wouldn't be close to the end with UF. I said LSU was the mortal lock of the century. I said Texas would beat Oklahoma. I said Texas couldn't hang with UGA. All wrong. So that's fine. That's all well and good. But call me out at, okay, yes, okay, I acknowledge it. I've been terrible. This LSU defense has been even worse in these two games. And so we'll dive into specifics because, like I said, I think there's elements of this team that we didn't maybe fully appreciate, like the vacuum left by Jacob Phillips and Patrick Queen and their departures. And yes, there are things to fix offensively. Look, as far as not running the ball, the O-line did not block for the run very well today. You could have called it more, yes. And it's very head-scratching as to why you didn't call it all day. And then on the final 4 downs that mean everything, you run 2 quick zones that you've been doing for 2 years straight now and everybody knows you are going to do. That is perplexing in and of itself. But the O-line did not block very well today. And you got to get it figured out on 3rd down. I mean, it's just, over 10 is unlike anything I've ever seen. We did an entire segment earlier this week, on highlighting 3rd down and how LSU must be better. And the red flag was that even against Vandy, you averaged 3rd and 6 and you still converted at a terrible rate. And you have never seen a good football team that was bad at converting on 3rd downs. And even worse, you've never even seen a pretty good football team that's bad at both. And right now, LSU is bad at both.
2 more points, then we'll go to break, then we'll take your phone calls. I don't understand why there cannot be a session put in to 2 practices a week to take snaps under center for short yardage situations. I absolutely hate giving the ball to a flat-footed running back there when you're outnumbered at the line of scrimmage. They're on the 1-yard line. Everybody is up. You can't block them all. You've got to carry somebody into the end zone. You've got to be able to plow forward for 3 feet. And you're asking Ty Davis-Price to do that from a standing position. Why you would not line up in an under center formation to where he can be running towards the line of scrimmage when he gets the ball is beyond me. And the excuse I hear over and over again is, well, we don't practice under center. We'll start.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a failure to adapt. I think that last year, because this is what they did last year.
They're not the only team like that, by the way.
Yeah, no. And this is like the team did last year. I mean, this is what that's why it felt so predictable at the end there, because this is what they did constantly last year as well, right? Zone, line up again, quick zone again. The difference there was people had such a respect for the passing game that a lot of times you weren't running into these overloaded boxes. And right now you constantly are when you're down there at the goal line and you wasted 2 downs at the end. And then you try to get it in the end. So look, I'm not saying, and so obviously there are things to fix offensively, and you got to feel. And this offense today was so close to being the hero, but in the end, it doesn't matter because, like the Mississippi State game, they made so many plays, they just couldn't make the needed plays at the most needed times. And again, it's not fair to them. So there's stuff to fix there, but right now, nothing is going to work, and nothing is going to look good until you can even get a modicum of average defensive play out of this LSU team.
You're right. These are things that on another day, if they had won, you'd be really, you start to pick out certain plays.
Yes.
Why did they do that? Okay, well, first of all, not getting under center there drives me crazy, but they're not the only team that does that. There are teams that will not even, in victory formation, they will go from the shotgun and kneel the ball, risking that snap. It's not the only ones. But where's 2? Where's Gilbert? He's not in the game on 3rd or 4th down.
Well, so what's the deal? Because we're watching in here,
and maybe he was
so we don't have great
We'll find out.
volume because he started so hot, then he was gone for. Okay, he
came back in the game though.
He did come back in, but I have to imagine that he was hurt for a large portion of the game. I don't know what happened to bring him back in, but I have to imagine that when Torrey Carter's getting 2 big targets.
And why are you throwing to him?
So I think that's one of those situations where if you look at the depth chart, if Gilbert goes down, Torrey Carter's obviously the one they trust next, right?
Then you stop throwing to that position.
I mean, as a quarterback, I still want you to make the correct decision there, right? It's like the Drew Brees thing. You got to trust Dan Arnold, but sometimes Dan Arnold's going to screw up and drop it. But ideally there, you have someone who is more of a receiving threat.
Throwing the ball down the field to 44 is not a good play. Okay, you want to throw him a little flare out of the backfield or something like that when he's in an H-back, that's fine. Throwing the ball 30 yards down the field, the chances of executing that play are not good. I want Jenkins in the game there. I want McMath in the game there. I want Boutte in the game. I want Corey Moore. 44. Carter is a useful player for what he should be asked to do, which is block in short yardage situations, today, notwithstanding, and he's got a little bit of versatility. He'll get down the field. He'll throw you a block. He's got some athleticism, but catching the football, not his strong suit.
Yeah, so I guess, the fix there, in my opinion, would be instead of asking the quarterback to just take away a route on the field, as a coach, you have to put in personnel groupings that just aren't going to feature that position, and then ask him to make the right decision on those plays. Because the play was open, right? It was there. Just Torrey Carter's not so. But that's the only way that I can explain the Eric Gilbert absence, right? Because he started so hot.
Yeah,
he was the offense early on.
The other thing is, again, and I'll go back to 2 weeks ago. You had a senior quarterback. You had an experienced guy. You had a unique scheme, and you had your best defensive player out. Today, none of that was true.
They had 3 of their top 5 receivers out with COVID.
3 of their top 5 receivers are out. You got a freshman quarterback making his second start. You've got did they do anything real creative today?
Mizzou?
Missouri.
No, it was just a nice pro-style offense, a couple triple options mixed in here and there. It was inexplicable, LSU's ability to handle even the most basic of play action bootlegs. Just losing guys left and right.
I'm talking about people running 30 yards free.
And to me, it's like, okay, after watching the Mississippi State game live, and granted, I have more of an offensive mind than a defensive one, just because whatever, that's what I spend all my time on. But watching the Mississippi State game live, I could clearly see schematically where LSU had erred so badly. Today, it's not that obvious, right? So I'm going to have to rewatch this game to think about the pure scheme changes and the mistakes that I believe were made. But where you can still trace this back to coaching, my buddy Scott Burns said on Twitter, I think he nailed it. Right now with this team, Hanny, and especially with this defense, you look at the talent of the guys starting out there, the whole is less than the sum of the parts. A lot of times we talk about the whole being greater. So the whole is less than the sum of the parts. Right now, your defense is more talented than what you are witnessing. There's no way that you're going to convince me that Arkansas's defense is, 30 points better than LSU's from a talent perspective?
No,
you're not going to convince me that Tennessee's defense, which granted Tennessee's playing very well, I do not believe they are 30 points better than LSU's defense. So that's coaching. The missed assignments are coaching. Guys still talking to each other as the ball is snapped is coaching. The pointing fingers you alluded to. It just looks so dysfunctional top to bottom right now. And, it's fascinating. I never would have. This is a Missouri team that had scored 3 touchdowns in 2 games. Never in my wildest dreams would I have felt like by the end of that game that they just could not be stopped. And how easy did they make their go-ahead touchdown look? It wasn't, will it happen? It was, how much time will I have left on the clock to try to go score my own touchdown? It felt inevitable. And the fact that a Missouri offense felt inevitable by the end of the game is probably the most damning thing that you can say about Bo Pelini and this defense.
499-9898 is the number to call. You can get in the Bayou Ford chat as well on our YouTube page at 1045 ESPN. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy,
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Hi, this is Chance Inman, President and Chief Operating Officer for Janney King Gulf Coast. Here are some ways to protect yourself and those around you from the coronavirus. Wash your hands often and thoroughly. Cover coughs and sneezes with your elbow. Disinfect high-touch surfaces regularly. Use non-contact methods for greeting others. And avoid touching your face. Following these steps, as well as social distancing, should help all of us stay healthy.
Janney King, the king of clean.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Eagle 98.1.
Missouri wins it today by a score 45-41. Let's go to the phone lines. You heard from us, and hang on a second. Before we go to the phone lines, let's hear from Coach O. I did want to play this before we go to the phones.
A very disappointing loss. Give Missouri credit. Give Coach Drinkwitz credit. They called a good game. We couldn't stop anybody. Really, the poor showing on defense. We got to coach better. Number one starts with me. Players got to make plays. Couldn't stop the run. Receivers wide open downfield was embarrassing, and we got to get it fixed. Whatever it is, they get it fixed. I thought the offense played an outstanding game, except for down there. We're on the 1 yard line inside the one. We got to score there. We got to score to win the game. We had a chance to win it, and we did. I thought Miles played fantastic. 430 yards, 4 touchdowns. T. Marshall was 11 catches for 235. Eric Gilbert played fantastic. It was just all on the defense. We got to get it fixed. But, we got to stay together. We can't blame it on the players. I told the players, I've got to coach better. We got to coach better on defense. That's the second time that we give up so many yards and so many points. And it's just not LSU defense. We got to get better.
Okay. I don't disagree with any of that.
No, that was actually well said. I hadn't heard that.
Jack in Homer is first up. Jack, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I want to set the tone for the show today from the caller perspective. I don't want to hear anybody blaming Miles Brennan. The tangible progress that kid made from game 1 to game 3, I don't want anybody putting that last drive or this loss on him. Some of the message boards are already. I'm not going there. I mean, I'm proud of him. I'm proud of the offense. I know that there are things to tweak, but if you put this offense with any defense going back to Saban's first year, maybe except for 2008, that's a win today.
Yeah.
Jack, go back to whatever message board that you're on and unsubscribe and don't go there because if anybody puts this on Miles Brennan, they're an absolute moron or drunk off their ass, one of the two.
I'm both, and I still don't put it on Miles Brennan. 430 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. What did you want him to do?
For sure. I want to make one quick comment, just to give other people time. Just a quick 40,000-foot view of the program. Going back to, 05, so this is probably 16th season, we've had a coach who doesn't have a specialty. And with what I mean by that is he's not going to be the guy who's going to go run your offense or run your defense. And I don't know. I mean, Orgeron, he deserves credit for putting everything that he put together last year. I feel a little bit of, I don't know, from friends I have and fans, we kind of feel like we should tiptoe around and not criticize him, but we can open up the criticism at this point, and he is what he is. If he doesn't have elite coordinators, this is what we get. We got the roller coaster in 2018 with a bad decision to bring Canada in. The Pelini hire's looking like a bad decision. And so as much as I want and everyone else wants a sustained championship program here, I don't know if we're going to get that. And Charlie, I got to be honest, man. I know you've been doing this for a long time. I've been a fan for a long time. I don't know if we're going to see that in our lifetimes. And I'm not going to go any further with it. I love what you guys do, love the show, and I hope we can turn it around.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Jack.
I'm not doing deep dive on program because the program is on pretty solid footing.
Yeah.
You've got good talent on this team. You've got a good recruiting class coming in. I think you've got a very solid staff with one member of it that has been a bad fit so far.
Terrible.
One guy that you brought in that has not been able to communicate his defensive scheme to the understanding of his players, has not been able to motivate them or coach them up to play to their best potential. They've got way more talent than what they're showing on the field. Okay, you don't want to put it all on one guy, but this start. Now, look, Ed's the head coach. I get it. You get the big office, you get the good parking spot, you get the big check. It's all on you. But this is on Pelini, man. I mean, there ain't any other place I can put it. I can nitpick a play call here and a play call there, a drop pass. I'm not wild about the fact that they're going out of shotgun from the 1 yard line, but that's minor, man. And anybody that's talking about Miles Brennan today, good gracious, I mean.
He didn't even have run support today.
Sober up. I mean, come on. Jason in Gulfport is next.
I would real quick on the Orgeron criticism thing, because he's right. I never want anybody to be immune to criticism. And so the hire right now looks like it deserves criticism. Calling this defense better than it ever was at any point last year absolutely deserves criticism, because that was not spoken from rationality. That was spoken from a place of emotion, of wanting the defense to be better than anything you saw last year. So criticism is deserved. At the same time, I don't necessarily want him to be that heavy-handed head coach. I still want him to delegate. I still want his coordinators to be empowered to make their decisions. And what we have to see now is, in leadership positions, you can't be too reactive. So you do have to see where this goes a bit. But if it goes the way it looks like it's going, will you course correct? Because you did last time, and it paid massive dividends. I wonder if he would be willing to do the same when it feels like he has a lot more skin in this hire than you even had in the Matt Canada one. Again, though, that is a more long-term conversation. Yeah, the overall health of the program, I think, is fantastic. If you can avoid disaster this year and maintain the classes that you have in recruiting, you're going to be on that path to sustained success, but you may have something to fix defensively.
It's more expensive this time. Jason
it is more expensive. But you know what drives money? Anger.
Yeah. Jason, go ahead.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I agree with the last caller in that I was going to say, on a normal game, you might nitpick the offense, but you put 40-plus points on the board. That's all you can really ask the offense to do. I mean, for God's sakes, 40-plus points. You'd have told me we were going to score 40-plus points. I'd have said, yeah, it's a win. And with, positive turnover margin. What we have, 3?
Plus 3.
You've lost to bad teams with plus 3 in the turnover department. It's unbelievable.
I made fun of Tulane the other day. They did plus 5 and they lost. But come on.
That's bizarre. I don't even know how you do that.
Exactly.
And, my concern that really concerned me watching the game, there's mistakes, there's things like that, but it almost seemed like there was no progression. And this seemed like the same thing. When we saw State, we were like, hey, this is going from something different. They're a completely different type of package. The guy slings the ball around. We thought that was, but now we've seen that's not true. But it didn't. It's same thing as with State. There didn't seem to be any kind of attempt to adjust or try something different or get some. Well, I saw Orgeron get in there, and he looked really good, like he was getting some pressure. But you can't tell me that Josh White or Sampa those guys were early enrollees. They're not. Can you get worse than the way that Clark was playing? I mean, crying out loud. I mean, there's got to be some kind of adjustment made. I thought second half surely, and nothing. No unusual stunts. I can think of one play when they threw that little flare and we finally got them off the field. Almost kind of.
And you only
like
got off
3-4
then because
look.
I think there was a holding call, if that's what I'm thinking of. But yeah, there was that big hit on that flare. It was Jabril Cox.
Yeah, that was it. And that was the only time when we kind of came up in almost like a 3-4 look and had more guys, in kind of the linebacker position. But other than that, it was just like we were just hammering a square peg into a round hole the whole game. And I started having like flashbacks of the Les Miles type stuff. Like I just don't.
Yeah. All right.
It boggles.
Jason, thank you for the call.
So I'll say this for the lack of adjustments. There were absolutely no adjustments made Mississippi State game. I still defensively this game do want to go back and watch the film and see if I really feel that way. But regardless if adjustments were made or not, it paid you no dividends. So the right adjustments were not made, or your defense is in such poor shambles and people don't understand how to execute it to the point that you can't go to a Sampa or a Josh White or anybody else because the guys that are on the field are the ones that can do what you think is best to the best, and just all of that looks like a complete misjudgment.
Give me 11 guys that are going to hustle because you ain't got 11 right now. Charlie's in Lafayette. Charlie, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. How y'all doing?
Good. Such as it is.
This was a disappointment, a disaster is what's happened to my friends in Southwest Louisiana, so we need to always keep that
absolutely.
perspective. My house survived, my power's on, so I'm keeping that.
Good to hear that.
It's a disappointment, but one of the things. I mean, obviously you can talk about adjustments, but like you said, you got to have effort too, and you can adjust all you want, but the effort's got to come from within. So they're going to have leadership and whatever. But a couple of things I noticed, big plays in the game. That blocked field goal was huge because LSU would have made that. They could have kicked the field goal at the end of the game, and it gave Missouri, even though Missouri was penalized, it gave them the ball and momentum. A couple other things I noticed in the game. Maybe Eric Gilbert hurt his shoulder on a play, and then Stingley hurt his ankle. Someone raised the down markers up. So that was those things did happen. But I don't think the offensive line has enough depth that you're missing an Ed Ingram today. You didn't have an answer for that.
But Charlie, they put up 479 yards and 41 points. I mean,
you did miss Ingram though, but I mean, it's not on the offense. But
Turner's not as good as Ingram.
Yeah,
I understand that. But that's not where it's at, man.
No, I agree. And I tell you one thing they did, the way they drove at the end of the game, they drove perfectly. They weren't going to leave Missouri any time. I thought that was very good. The bottom line is they need to find a way to get, I think 5 wins will get them bowl eligible. They need those extra 3 weeks of practice. It's just not going to a bowl.
Charlie, I promise you, a bowl game is the last thing I'm concerned about.
Isn't everybody bowl
at this point? Yeah, they are. That's the last thing that I'm worried about.
I want to have a winning record. I want to go 6-4.
Better hurry.
But that's feeling not like it's happening right now.
You better hurry. Charlie, thanks for the call. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Charlie. Man.
Take a break. We'll be back with more Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
During times of trouble, hope keeps us calm, and courage keeps us strong. Here in Louisiana, we know this better than most. After all, we've faced hardship, but hurricanes and floods never washed away what makes us strong. It's our culture, the spirit of resilience that says rise and rise up again. We'll make it through the tough times. We always do. And Blue Cross will always be here to support you.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not 1 but 2 NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motors you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Foundation failure is common in South Louisiana, and that's why homeowners here turn to a local company they can trust, WCK Foundation Repair.
WCK is the only company that specializes in drilled piers, the ideal solution for Louisiana's unique soil conditions. WCK is locally owned and operated by a group of professionals with years of experience.
Learn more about the signs of foundation failure on WCKFoundationRepair.com. Call for a free estimate. WCK Foundation Repair. Support the home team.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're Jani-King, a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
Eagle 98.1.
We're brought to you by Home Bank. Good for business, good for life. Eagle 98.1 game day. 499-9898 is the number to call. Darren is in Pass Christian, Mississippi. Darren, welcome into the show.
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes,
What's
sir.
up,
Go
Darren?
ahead.
So, I don't get it. I've been watching Miles Brennan since he was a sophomore, and he makes all the throws. He does enough to win the game, and Bo Pelini, the $2.3 million man, lets us down. I don't understand what the problem is. They can't stop anybody. It's ridiculous. How do you not fire this man tomorrow and hopefully go 4-6 the rest of the way?
Oh, you just you just named it, man. Look, there's a pandemic. There's a pretty big budget. First of all, let's put something to rest. They're not going to fire a coach 3 games into the season.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not going to do that, no matter how bad it is.
The fact that we are having this conversation, though, and it's got this much traction shows how unthinkably bad it's been.
Right. No argument there. But in reality, LSU is going to be down in the tens of millions of dollars budget-wise. So even if you wanted to, I'm not sure that you can. Hitting the A-bomb at this point and moving a coordinator 3 games into the season is simply not going to happen unless I'm way, way wrong. And I'll be happy to tell you if I was, but I don't think that's the case. Bob is in Lafayette. Bob, welcome to the show. Bob?
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for taking my call.
Sure,
I appreciate
Bob.
it. I got a 2-part question. I'm not blaming Bo Pelini for being hired. No,
I know that's just funny. I get, yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he got hired. I
Yeah.
mean, he sold himself. He got hired. But first part of my question is that the defense that was handed to him, was he was more of a 4-3 kind of guy, not a 3-4
Yeah,
kind of guy.
there was
right?
that was never going to be a situation where they were going to be a mainly 3-4 defense. Like you were bringing him
Okay.
in because you wanted him to run the 4-3. It's what Orgeron wanted as well.
Okay. Because you see, I would have thought that, with the success of the previous defensive coordinator, that you would, and because they, brought in talent to match that kind of defense, that they would bring in another 3-4 defensive coordinator.
That is
to
actually
keep that.
some of the impact here. I do believe that, Bob. I think there's a lot of wrong, but some of it does come from the personnel this mismatch disparity between you're right, like we were celebrating last year, you finally have a true nose guard. It felt like 4 years before you finally got the true nose for the 3-4, and now you're on the other side of that.
Yeah. The second part of my question is, LSU's offense. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. It's an RPO. It's a run pass offense, right?
No, I mean not everything in it has RPO. You definitely have a lot of RPO plays. You saw some today. They're run pass options, but it's not like that's the base core concept where every play has a run pass option built in.
Okay, because my question on that is that, I mean, I look, and I'm not blaming Brennan, and I don't know what the talent level is behind him, that if he is being asked to not run. Because I saw today a number of times where he handed the ball off and sprinted out, and nobody from Missouri was even respecting that.
No, he's
They
not.
weren't
He's
even
not.
covering.
He's not going to run.
I mean, he's not a run threat. But my question is, are they telling him not to run because, hey, dude, we don't have anybody behind you. You're the man.
Bob, the way to watch that when you're watching the replay, and I'll have a better idea about this Monday, or just when you're watching the game, you're watching a replay of a play. If they block the backside defensive end a lot of times, then that is just a basic zone. Sometimes there's other read players, but a lot of times if you block that backside defensive end, that's a normal zone where he's going to hand it every single time. If they don't block that end, then you're reading that guy, and that's when he has the option to pull it.
He can't run. Okay, he's not fast. He's too slow to run. I'm sorry. He is a wonderful passing quarterback. I think he's come a long way in 3 weeks.
He throws such a good deep ball.
He's 430 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Let's not try to make him Adrian Peterson. Okay, he can't run. Don't ask him to. I want to go back to the first part though, when he's talking about the scheme change to the 4-3. Can we? I'm not giving Bo Pelini any pass on that. I know that Apu Ika can play because we saw him play a year ago. I know that Glenn Logan can play. I know that Farrell's out of shape, but I know he can get on the field a decent amount and play. I know Damone Clark is better than what he's showing because right now he's playing awful, and I saw him play better than that a year ago. I know that Stingley is great. I know that Todd Harris was a starter a year ago and could play. I know that Hampton played a good bit at the end of last year and played better than he's playing now. I know Jacoby Stevens is better than what he's playing right now. I know that Jabril Cox is going to get drafted on the second day probably of the draft next year. And I know that Derek Stingley, whether he gets his foot wrapped up in the chains or not, is one of the best defensive backs that we've ever seen come through here. So figure it out, man. Okay,
yeah.
Don't act like they didn't leave you anything. I know they had some people leave, but
yeah.
don't act
You're
like
right.
you got left with nothing to work with here.
You're right.
Lamar is in Savannah, Georgia. Lamar, welcome into the show.
Hi, you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
It looked like out there were a bunch of great football players, future NFL guys, and they weren't really playing football, or at least not cohesively. Like, if they all, like if 99% of them do the right thing, or if 90% of them do the right thing, the one person doing the wrong thing is going to get you cratered. So you're going to get scored on.
So I think what you're talking about, Lamar, there, it goes back to that Scott Burns tweet that I was talking about earlier, which is the whole feels less than the sum of its parts. And that is a criticism that, in my opinion, is a reflection of coaching.
And there's got to be a middle ground. Like, I know we're switching to a 4-3, but if the guys don't get it, the coach has to be the one who has the intellect and the knowledge to mesh what his scheme is with what the players know how to do. Like, he's putting an incomplete product out there. and it's wasting a lot of people's time. And I'm not talking about mine. I'm talking about those players.
Yeah.
Like some of those guys out there, I don't know how you like look at them and tell them like, hey man, don't opt out. Like that's gonna start becoming a real thought unless things turn around here soon.
Well,
right, thanks for having me.
yeah, great call, Lamar. I don't think anybody's gonna opt out because those players' best path to helping themselves out is just managing to play better. But you're right. One of the most frustrating feelings as a player is, you get your ass kicked sometimes. That just happens, right? And sometimes you kick other people's ass. But there's nothing worse than when you know that you are better than that team, but you're being asked to do things that aren't very smart. Like when you're an O-lineman and there's 9 people in the box and you're saying, hey, let's run a lead, and you have to get us 6 yards. Like it's very frustrating when you feel that your coaches aren't always putting you in the best position to succeed. And that's the worst. And that's the thing. This LSU defense, though, still I think would have some personnel issues. It's just that this defensive staff right now isn't even doing a average job of covering up those issues. It seems like they're exacerbating the issues.
Let me give you 2 examples of what we're talking about here. The touchdown that was so wide open in the middle of the field. You see the replay.
The running back out of the backfield one?
No, the one in the middle.
Oh, when Damone Clark did. It looked like Clark didn't pick up the
the one that was right in the middle of the field where Ricks, you see it on the replay, Ricks passes it off. He thinks he's got deep help.
Yeah.
And he does.
Oh, yes.
And he doesn't, okay?
Which and again, I don't know why everybody's so off page, but to me that looked like cover 0. I didn't see a deep safety, so like I have to assume that Rick should have been man on there.
Okay, so that was that was Michael Wilson. It was the 41-yarder. Okay, so we know that Eli Ricks can run with Michael Wilson. Okay, it's not a matter of you don't have the talent to do it there, or if he had passed it off to Hampton or Harris or whoever would have been back there at that time, that those guys can't run. It happened because he thinks he's got deep help, and he don't have deep help. Now, the other one, which was the circle out of the backfield, you see him run in the end zone, and immediately you see Jacoby Stevens point at Damone Clark. And you see Damone Clark look at him and point in the complete opposite direction as if to say, oh, why ain't you over here? Because I'm over here. You're supposed to be over there. And they're looking at each other like, you screwed up. No, you screwed up. Well, who screwed up? I don't know. I know that somebody was supposed to be in the middle of the field. The same way Ricks turns around and goes, where's my help? If you'd have told me to cover him, I can run with the guy man for man, but I think I got deep help. I'm taking the underneath. Where's my guy back there? And I didn't see anybody point back at him, but I'm sure somebody did because they were saying, well, you're supposed to be over there. No, you're supposed to be over there. Well, guess what? Somewhere so it got lost in the translation somewhere.
All the pointing, all that body language, it's signs of even if you don't want to call it poorly coached, a discombobulated defense. And you have to ask yourself, why are you so confused defensively?
They had a triple camp. One of my friends texted me, like, is this a product of no spring football? I'm like, no, nobody had spring football.
They had a lot of time to practice.
They were locked down from the time they got back in June to the end of September.
Yeah.
No, they should know a little bit more by now. Mike is in NOLA. Mike, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I wanted to address something a caller said a few calls back, that he wants to fire Bo Pelini tomorrow. I disagree with what he said. I think he needs to be fired on the tarmac.
Lane Kiffin.
Kiffin style. Leave him.
And the next caller asked about how changing the scheme from a 3-4 to a 4-3 might be affecting the defense. Eli Drinkwitz and Mike Leach are both implementing new schemes with far less talent, and they completely ate Pelini's lunch. And I don't want to be the fire the coach guy, but because people want to say, well, it could get worse. They've been playing football in the SEC for about 80 years, and Pelini's, in his first performance, gave up more pass yards than any other defense in the history of the conference. And losing in Columbia, Missouri after scoring 41 points has to be a new low for modern-day LSU.
Yeah.
I'll hang up and take y'all's reaction. Thank you.
No, I mean, Mike, all those are warranted criticisms. Hanny, I have a question to ask you, but if you have anything that you want to say to Mike before I do.
Only that not only is Eli Drinkwitz putting in a new scheme, he's not really putting in the scheme that he wants. he doesn't have the quarterback that he wants to run his he would much rather have a quarterback that could move better than the one that he's got. Leach is just going to put his stuff in no matter who's on the team. But Drinkwitz is not only putting in a new scheme, he's putting in a scheme that is not really his first choice. That's all I wanted to say.
Has the game passed Bo Pelini by?
Judging by what I've seen so far, yes.
It is so hard. I mean, it is so hard to form a logical argument that would say anything differently.
This is indefensible. Listen, I've been doing this a while, and I can see sometimes when things don't work, I understand what they're trying to do, okay? I understand that there's certain schemes that they put in. There's certain players that they want to highlight. There's certain things that they want to do. For instance, Steve Ensminger today, in the first half, okay, gets completely away from the run game.
Yeah.
All right. And he gets out of balance a little bit, and it's not exactly what you want. But why? Because Eric Gilbert was such a mismatch. Missouri had nobody that could guard him. Yeah. And Steve goes out there and he says, listen, man, I got this man-child at tight end that can beat anybody they got on the field. They'd have to go find somebody from the Kansas City Chiefs to find somebody within 300 miles that can cover that guy. So I'm going to throw him the ball. So when you ask Steve, man, why'd you get so out of balance at halftime? Because I got two. All right. Now, did that work completely the way they wanted it to? Yes and no. Okay. Gilbert ended up getting dinged a little bit today. But at least I understand what he's trying to do. Okay. Yeah. When you tell me John Emery doesn't play, you say, well, because Ty Davis-Price is a more physical running back, and which, debatable, because Emery's running hard between the tackles. So I decided that when we ran, we would run Price because I thought he had the hot hand. I may not disagree, but at least I understand what he's trying to do. I don't understand what Bo Pelini's trying to do. I got nothing. I got no.
I don't think the players understand what Bo Pelini's trying to do.
Why did you intentionally walk that guy? Because he was a lefty, and I had a right-handed pitcher, and the next guy was a lefty. Next guy hit the ball out of the park. Damn. Well, at least I know what you were trying to do. I understand it. I don't understand this, and obviously they don't understand this. Yeah. Take a break. 499-9898 is the number to call. It's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Brandon Holly here. Siding, windows, even doors. ReliefWindows.com.
Eagle 98.1 WDGL and HD1 Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Started making beer at home and immediately fell in love with it. That was like the day of my first batch of brewing. I was already thinking, can I do this for a living?
Oh yeah, obsessed with it. He was totally consumed by it, and then looked at me one day and told me I was put on this earth to brew beer. And I was like, wow, that is such a bold statement. And if you can say that about anything, then you need to follow your dream and do it.
When morning came to Louisiana, we were hopeful, not hibernating. We were mending fences, feeding neighbors, and holding our kids. When morning came to Louisiana, we were wide awake, planting seeds for next year's crops. We were stronger, ready for what's next. And together, as we build anew, Blue Cross stands ready to support you.
Well, the reason why I would recommend him because he's trustworthy. I mean, attention and love and respect of who you are, what you are, and the purpose why you came, he honors that. Once you're with Murphy, you got a friend.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Eagle 98.1.
Man, we got so many people upset. We got people dumping out of hurricane coverage come up here and scream at us. Jeez.
This is the therapy session, the extended therapy session. Thank you to everybody who's hanging out with us today. We are obviously all figuring this. Just the thing is, Hanny, everybody just seems the same way that I feel, which is just like they've been so atrocious that it's borderline inexplicable.
It is.
I just never thought it. I asked Ben, so Minty was up here with us. We're watching in the fan cave, and I'm like, so is this what it feels like being an Ole Miss fan? Like you're just terrified when you're on defense? Like every time you just, like even if it's Missouri, you just expect him to score? He's like, yeah, pretty much. You know, that's kind of it.
Back to the phone lines. BC is in Baton Rouge. BC, welcome into the show.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are y'all?
All right.
It's good to hear y'all.
Yo, Brian, what's up, dude?
What's up? So T-Bob.
Yes.
We're both old enough to remember to the 2005-2006 teams, right?
Yep.
I'm flattered that you think I'm not, by the way. Well, go ahead.
Pelini got here. Things looked really bad, and we got better as that 05 season went on, and it led to what many people consider to be one of the best teams LSU's ever had in 06. What is preventing that from happening over the course of these next few games? Clearly, you have what looks like an unstoppable offense in Florida, and you've got Auburn and Alabama on the schedule. But why are we, I don't know, trying to throw Pelini off the Mississippi River Bridge before giving it an opportunity to work with this talent and get the communication issues fixed and, you know, try and have a little bit of progress before we jump to a conclusion?
So I don't know about you, Hanny. To me, kind of goes back to what we said earlier, which is like the fact that conversation, given the financial implications, what the change meant in hiring Pelini after Randolph, given all these things, it would have been so unthinkable for that conversation to have any legs just a couple of weeks ago. So if I'm trying to square with how did we get here, that's just how bad the football has been. Like, it's just been so inexplicably bad that you don't even feel confident that it can get fixed. And yet you don't need to be reactive and make a decision today. That's bad leadership. But like where I'm saying is where things are trending, they are going to have a very real conversation at the end of this year about if this is the path going forward.
So in 2005, one of the things that happened schematically was that they were playing primarily zone in the secondary at the beginning of that season. And the players were not used to that. They had been almost an exclusive man team under Saban, and they really struggled with the zone concept. And Pelini recognized that and made some adjustments. I didn't really feel like they had a bad scheme against Tennessee as much as they just got exhausted and wore out in the game. And schematically, they transitioned as the season went along. So if they do that this time, if he gets his point across, if he figures out, then that's all fine and good. But they weren't historically bad for 3 games. This is historically bad.
Yeah,
okay?
these 2 games. I mean, literally. I mean, that's like not an exaggeration.
There was a record set 2 weeks ago, and I'm here to tell you, in my opinion, today was worse because you were bad against the run.
It was everything.
And the pass.
It was everything. Just any play. You just knew when Missouri snapped the ball, they were getting 8 yards.
You had
it's a horrible.
You had a freshman quarterback, a first-year head coach at this level, okay, and a vanilla offense. That's not even what he wants to run. 2 weeks ago, I can sort of rationalize it, even if it was the wrong thing to do. Mike Leach is an experienced coach. He knew what was going on. Costello is a senior quarterback. Stingley has an episode on Friday night, and somewhere in the area of 15 hours to game time, you find out that you're not going to have your best defensive player. There were reasons. It was ugly as it was. At least I could say, well, but this, but that. Today, none of that.
Well, and
none of that.
And the reason why I don't even take that from the Mississippi State game is that without Stingley, is the personnel of Arkansas's defense better than LSU?
No.
Exactly.
It's not.
And you know what they did? They rushed 3 and dropped 8 the entire game. It's just what Chris Peterson at Washington did. Barry Odom watched the Washington game and figured, hey, maybe we should implement that. Bo Pelini and his staff did not.
It's a Google search. Ron is in Baton Rouge. Ron, welcome into the show.
Well, thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
It looked like a Chinese fire drill out there this afternoon.
I don't know if you can say that anymore, Ron.
Why do they keep trying to run it when they have 8 and 9 in the box and they try to run right up the middle? To me, that's just a wasted down.
You talking about LSU?
Yeah, you're talking about I think you're talking about the goal line. You're talking about the goal line at the end there, Ron, with the back-to-back shotgun goal line runs?
Yeah, not only that, it was 2-3 every time during the game they did that.
Yeah, and that's also a function of the O-line not blocking well either. You missed Ed Ingram. Like we said, if we are going to pick at the areas that you could be better offensively, absolutely.
I think we could have better play calls. Now, let me say one more thing. I remember Lou Kepler and John Shavers, and I put Bo Pelini in the same group. They all took their head coach down with them. And if this don't change, it's because he's going to take that Orgeron down too.
Thank you, Ron. I appreciate the call. I didn't have a problem with running the football on 1st and 2nd down from the 1-yard line. I got a 230-pound back.
Yeah.
I feel like if I get any kind of push at all, he can move the pile 3 feet. My problem is that you do it out of the shotgun, so you're forcing him to take the ball flat-footed. He's got no momentum going forward.
No lead blocker.
I said at the top of the show, I can't imagine that they can't put a
goal line package.
Yes.
Study the Saints.
And I
That's
get
what you've done in the past. Study the Saints.
I hear that a lot, though, from coaches that run exclusively out of the shotgun. We don't have time to practice that. Well, find some time to put this in, because the short yardage and goal line downs are the short yardage and goal line downs are almost always the most important down.
Yeah, and third down. And so obviously, like the offense in all of those.
It's 3rd and 1.
Yes.
Can you make a yard?
Yeah.
It's 4th and goal. Can you make a yard?
To me, my problem from a play con standpoint is not the first run, and it's not that you ran the ball in 2nd down. Something that you run out of the gun is that you did the same thing that you've been doing for 2 years on film, which is that quick snap, line it up, or run a zone again. And it worked the vast majority of the time last year. But, I mean, it's pretty hubristic to think that you can just continue that indefinitely and nobody's ever going to be able to just load up and stop you.
I'd even pitch the ball to Emory and try to get to the edge one time.
How about this? Well, what I would have loved to see, if we're just thinking about like scheme changes you could make, I still want Emory and Ty Davis Price on the field at the same time. Like Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray, one stretches you wide, one stretches you up the middle. But that's a bit more high concept. But what about this? You have shown that tendency to do the quick follow-up run so much on film. What about a little play action dump over the top to the tight end? Like anything like that where you're breaking your tendency. That's why I was upset with the 2nd down call, because as soon as they started to muddle to the line, you knew exactly what was coming.
Well, I can answer that. You couldn't do that because the tight end wasn't in the game. The tight end was on the sideline. Now, if I find out he was hurt and couldn't go in, that's a different story, but I don't know that right now. Doug is in Dallas, Texas. Doug, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Appreciate you both. I have a question, Charlie, for you being around a while and T-Bob being in the locker room. And the other guy took my Lou Tepper drop, so I guess I don't even have to do that. But it looks a lot like that today. Arrogance is a funny thing, especially with head football coaches and staffs that have been doing something a long time one way, and that's what they think works. But what's scary to me is not knowing near the amount they do. But I watched the Vanderbilt game. They just spread us out, and they gashed us up the middle. Well, Missouri did the same thing. And so T-Bob and Charlie, you can both comment on this. We're all hopeful it gets better. I mean, and I have to caution other LSU fans when we're critiquing a goal line play, which wasn't great, but the offense played fine. So let's focus on the defense.
For sure.
What is like, Pelini's coached a lot of football. Like, he has to know, okay, Mississippi State did this, Vandy did this, Missouri did this, and these are the weakest teams we play. They go wide. We have 4 down linemen, and we're in the nickel, it seems, because I think you said earlier that Baskerville couldn't even dress. So you got 2 linebackers who aren't playing well, and I don't know whose assignment it is, but they get 6 to 7 yards. And then you're on skates because they can work off that because they get 7 yards every time. So how does a coach actually accept that? In the book that Feldman talked about, like, he talked about how had to realize those things when he was almost head coach, like I was stubborn. I feel like there's some stubbornness on the staff. And T-Bob, you played for one of the most stubborn ones there was. So I thought you would have exceptional insight as to, like, what is Pelini doing right this second?
Thank you, Doug.
Like,
thank
doing
you.
the same thing.
Very good question.
I mean, it's kind of like what I stumbled into in the post game after Mississippi State, Hanny, where as I was just ranting to open the show, kind of hit me that watching that game felt like watching a Les Miles offense, but on the defensive side of the ball. Because you just said, we're going to keep doing the same thing, and our talent will win out in the end regardless of what I'm seeing in front of my face. So there's definitely an element of that. But to me, with this game, it even goes back to, like, it looks like that arrogance infected the core install of the defense. Like, you had to realize that you weren't good at these things you're trying to run. Because it's not like the LSU offense is so bad that the defense looked good during camp. The LSU offense has done fine. So you know the LSU offense is playing well during camp. And this defense, I mean, whatever it is, it just, I don't know, like, it just doesn't feel like this staff, and this was one of Dave Aranda's strengths, was changing up and customizing to try to fit the personnel that he had the best that he could. And I think it's a sign of a great coach. And right now, defensively, it doesn't feel like they're really doing that at all.
We'll take a break. Back with more of your phone calls. We're brought to you by Home Bank. Good for business, good for life. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but 2 NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At GMFS Mortgage, thanks to you, we've been changing lives for over 21 years. So far this year, that includes providing thousands of meals for the homeless, donating and helping raise $125,000 for the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, feeding hundreds of police officers during the stay-at-home order, and feeding local nursing homes. So if you're ready to buy, build, renovate, or refinance, choose a local lender that's changing lives in our community. Choose GMFS Mortgage today.
Eagle 98.1.
Missouri wins it 45-41. LSU falls to 1-2 on the season. They haven't done that since 1994.
Yikes.
Stats and facts. Joe is in New Orleans. Joe, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. I got two things. Piggyback on that goal line at the end. What I don't understand is why don't you run some sort of a stretch play and you give your big body back an option for a cutback lane or to try to chase to beat somebody to the pylon. He's got two options there.
Yeah,
Number two, on second down, okay, you got all these big body receivers. Why don't you line up Marshall and Gilbert, Marshall and McMath to the right, and you run double slants? One of those guys is going to cross the face of the defender, and it's game over. I don't understand that. Now, on defense-wise, the play that sums it up for me on the lack of effort, it was just pathetic effort, is the guy ran a drag. It was a delayed drag, kind of like what Jordan Jefferson used to do last year, and it was a total bust. And if you watch the replay, on the near hash was Jacoby Stevens. He totally jogged behind the play. There was no effort at all, and then Stingley gave a Deion Sanders kind of effort on the tackle. And to me, that was the whole summation of the game in that one play. No effort.
Thank you, Joe. There's been plenty of that. It's easy to go back and see. Orgeron went back and graded the last two game fields. They've been running punishment drills the last 2 Mondays. In season. Punishment drills for not hustling. I mean, he's grading loafs and said, well, we cut him in half. Really? Okay. Well, I don't think they cut him in half today.
No.
The play calls down on the goal line. Listen, you can always say, well, why didn't they run this? Why didn't they run this? Why didn't they run? And the defense is why they lost the game today. But the third down play call is actually there. If Brennan puts a little air under the ball, it wasn't a good throw.
Sure.
They could have made that. I've said my piece about the first two runs. If they put the quarterback under center and the running back's coming towards the line of scrimmage and he's got some momentum, and I've got Davis Price, who's a 225, 230-pound back, I'm willing to deal with that. I'm willing to say that my guy can move the pile 3 feet. I don't like handing him the ball standing straight up the way he is.
I mean, generally you don't. Generally, if you're going to say why some coaches don't want to run stretch on the goal line, is because that can be apt to getting blown up by penetration. So I mean, that's all I could say there.
The other thing you can run if you go into center is you can run a quarterback sneak. Okay, Brennan's 220 pounds now. Okay, I mean, it's 3 feet.
Yeah, it's
3 feet.
Man, you talk about football being a game of inches.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it came down to. Think of Terrace Marshall. He tried to stretch. What if he got that stretch over the pylon, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the levels that you can play, like the little differences that then change into these snowballing narrative differences are so crazy in the game of football sometimes.
First question at the press conference on Monday. How many loafs did you grade? because I'm anxious to see what the coach has got to say about that. Because if I can see it and everybody that's watching can see it, I'm pretty doggone sure it's going to be an uncomfortable film session. Jackson is in New Orleans. Jackson, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. Everybody's kind of been asking different variations of the same questions about the offense, about the defense. I guess, sitting here listening to it, I really kind of ask. I mean, at some point, and all that stuff's valid, but at some point, I mean, is it just a question of there's not enough leadership in the locker room? We've heard about some division within the locker room weeks before the season started. At some point, don't the players kind of have to take some ownership around assignments and gap integrity and tackling and just sort of some of the basic things that we're not seeing? Because I just don't believe that Bill Pelini forgot how to coach tackling. We could talk about maybe the scheme side of football is passing by, but that doesn't just go away, right?
Okay, I think that's a point worth exploring, Jackson. Thank you for the call. Let me take Jacoby Stevens, for example. All right, you remember the game against Mississippi State last year? Kerry Vincent goes in the game, and they bust a coverage, okay? He's not where he's supposed to be, and Jacoby Stevens went over to him and just went up one side of him and down the other.
Yep.
And, Hester and Gordy were on the sidelines. They told us, like, man, he was riding Kerry Vincent like nobody's business. Don't you ever do that again. We got a game, blah, 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 blah. What'd you see from Jacoby Stevens today? He points at Damone Clark. Why are you not over there? Damone Clark points right back at him. Slump shoulders, head down to the sideline. You were supposed to be over there. Well, you were supposed to be over there. Oh, well.
Yeah,
same guy.
Jackson is hitting on something, which is, and it's just that the personnel exodus that we tried to kind of hand wave away for a lot of very logical sounding reasons about, how good the guys that were remaining were and all of these things. And every additional departure, we kept saying, no, but you should still be able to overcome, right? Kerry Vincent. Nobody liked Kerry Vincent last year. All thought he was bad. Well, we should get Kerry Vincent now. It's like and I'm as guilty as anyone. I'm maybe most guilty because I was banging this drum. I thought 7-3, 8-2. Like I thought that's what this team was. And it looks like actually a lot of the national takes on how hard it is to lose all that personnel and then come back strong the next year. I mean, all the national takes are proven to be correct. And so you have a personnel problem that I believe is being exacerbated instead of improved upon by the defensive staff, especially right now.
Why would we blame the national guys when we can blame you? So much easier. Carlos is in Phoenix, Arizona. Carlos, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Nice to talk to you. A couple of things I noticed is one, there's the leadership on the linebacking core doesn't seem to be there. Even back 6-7 years ago with Beckwith, Devin White, Queen, you name it, it's not there now. And I don't know how that's going to change between this week and then Florida at that point. And then secondly, what's the over and under on Coach O saying it's on him every week? That's going to get old quick.
Well, the alternative is to say that, it was this guy didn't make this play, this guy didn't make this play, and then you get to my all-time least favorite complaint about coaches. He's throwing him under the bus. He's in a no-win situation. There ain't a thing he can say after the game that's going to make anybody feel any better. So if he says, I take the blame, everybody's like, well, get it fixed. If he blames it on the players, then that's not popular either. So I'm not going to hold his feet to the fire too bad on what he says in a post-game press conference. But
I even get him. I mean, I know he had some comments on Pelini specifically where he definitely backed him up, and I even get doing that. That is your hire. We're 3 games in, all these things. That would maybe be my only criticism if we're critiquing just like media answers is I do feel like at times he held coordinators that he was displeased with to a much higher standard in the public than he is currently holding his newest hire to.
Thank you, Carlos. As far as the linebackers, and really this is everybody on the defense, with the possible exception of Stingley. If you don't get the scheme, if you're not really into what they're doing, if they feel like, well, last year was a high and we can't get back to that level of defense, know this. Every one of you guys, with the exception of Stingley, is costing yourself money every time you go out there. There ain't a soul on that defense whose draft stock is not worse now than it was 3 weeks ago, with the exception of Stingley. And you can go and get it. You can get the chart, okay? First round, this is how much money it decreases every pick you go. And in the second round, it's this much money. And in the third round, it's this much money. So if you don't give a damn about the team and you don't give a damn about the coach, you don't give a damn about the scheme, do you give a damn about money? Because every one of you guys, except for 24, has lost money the last 3 weeks. So maybe that'll motivate you.
And I hope they can get it right. And then I hope the coaches, put them in positions to reverse that money losing trend.
Yes, we all do. We'll take a break. 499-9898 is the number to call. We're brought to you by Home Bank. Good for business, good for life. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
During times of trouble, hope keeps us calm, and courage keeps us strong. Here in Louisiana, we know this better than most. After all, we faced hardship, but hurricanes and floods never washed away what makes us strong. It's our culture, the spirit of resilience that says rise and rise up again. We'll make it through the tough times, we always do. And Blue Cross will always be here to support you.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Ochsner primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Ochsner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Ochsner Baton Rouge. Innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Eagle 98.1.
Missouri wins it by a score 45-41. We're brought to you by Home Bank. Good for business, good for life. 499-9898 is the number to call. Brad is in Cairo, Georgia. Brad, welcome into the show.
You're going to say Egypt.
Hey, Mr. Hannegriff, T-Bob.
What's happening, Brad?
Show, guys.
Thank you, Brad.
Hey, as fans, we can tend to be passionate and want to make a hot-headed decision, not in the same shoes as a head coach or athletic director at a Division I program like LSU. But could you guys give us an explanation of what we could expect just if the year could progress and not make a turnaround and the defense continues to look the way it does? How does that go in a first-year hire if it doesn't make the change that we are looking for? And as well as Pelini kind of feels a little personal the way Coach O speaks about him, and maybe that'll make the decision a little harder. I just like to hear y'all's opinion on.
Thank you, Brad.
How,
I appreciate
how does
it.
that happen?
Thank you. I appreciate the call. I have to agree with him. It does feel like it's a little bit the personal relationship with Pelini was a big reason I think that he got hired. They've got schematic things that they agree on. You know, the four-man front and things like that Orgeron has coached as a defensive line coach that he's more comfortable with, but they do have a personal relationship. And
it's like the inverse of the Matt Canada thing. They hired him without really seeing how that relationship was going to work out after one interview because they really liked what he had to say. And then this time it seems like Pelini really sold them because there was that chemistry there, and unfortunately the scheme has not followed the good chemistry.
So what do you do if it stays that way?
Yeah,
I mean, I can't
that's
imagine.
the $1 million question, the multi-million-dollar question.
It's going to be 7 long weeks if it doesn't change in some kind of way.
I mean, that is the thing about SEC football, okay? And really just about sports in general, Hanny, is that the road to redemption does lie within your grasp. The road to redemption, I mean, you have to go play the games. It's not like anybody can continue to judge you on this if you go and beat Florida, or if you knock off some of the better teams on this schedule. Now, I still don't think you beat Florida. I don't think you beat Alabama. Hell, I don't think you beat any of the good teams if you play like this. Or maybe, you pull one out because of the offense. But, so it's just if this was to continue this, ultimately they're going to have to win those games. Like next week if Florida, if they want to right this ship, that is your golden ticket type of game.
You can beat Florida. They probably won't, but you can. There is an inherent weakness into your strength. A&M went up and down the field on Florida today. The punter, I don't think, got out till the third quarter. Now, Florida went up and down the field on A&M. You may end up with another 45-41 game, but you make one play, okay? You steal one possession. You get one turnover. You get one fake field goal, fake punt, whatever. You could steal one because their strength plays into Florida's weakness and vice versa. So you could get into a shootout and win that thing. Am I picking that? No. But you could.
But my point is too, if Pelini really can get this ship righted, the opportunities are going to be there, right? So, and then at the end of the year, depending on how bad it is, that's when some real kind of nut check decisions are going to have to be made.
Listen, you scored 41 and 35 points in losses. You can see a scenario where you can see a scenario where is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? No, not really.
You can't sit here and say it after what we've seen.
Steve is in Baker. Steve, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
I'm talking about the turnover ratio. They won LSU wins the turnover battle with Mississippi State. They win the turnover battle today. When is the last time you guys seen a team win the turnover battle substantially twice and still lose the game?
Thursday. Tulane was +5 and lost.
No, so how about
LSU?
this?
I don't know.
How about this, Steve? To your point right now, LSU coming into the game today was number 1 in the SEC in turnover margin. They were winning by an average of a turnover and a half. Normally, that is okay. So who are the other top teams in this list? Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, the other undefeated SEC schools. After today, you will be likely in first place completely alone. Because you won the turnover battle 3-0. So you added to that average by a pretty substantial margin, and yet still you're sitting here at 1-2. That is inexplicable. So how do we explain it? The defense has been inexplicably bad.
You're right.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah. Okay, man.
Appreciate the call. Mintz is in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Mintz, welcome into the show.
Hey, what's up, fellas? Look,
What's up?
The early kick, I was planning to stay on beer till nightfall, but watching that game, I just switched to the whiskey early.
It happens. I get it.
Look, man, first of all, if there's any clowns waiting to call in and talk about offensively, just hang up, stop. You got the leading passer in the league. You got the leading pass catcher in the league. You're averaging over 40 points a game. Yeah, can we nitpick offensively? Sure. But when you're 1-2 and you're winning turnover battles like we are, you have to be historically bad at something to lose football games.
Yes.
That's defensively.
Yeah.
And we got y'all know more, but I think we got several dudes defensively that are going to play on Sundays, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And right now we look slow defensively, linebackers specifically, but really everywhere we look slow. And it seems like they're just thinking too damn much.
Yep.
I mean, it's
That's
like
absolutely that's when fast players, and they can run, believe me.
Yeah.
When fast players are playing slow, it's because they are unsure of what they are supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I have it written right here as you were talking, man. Slow equals mental confusion. I don't know that a player embodies that more than Damone Clark right now. We know what a physical freak he is. He won number 18 because the coaches were impressed with him in the same ways. But right now, he looks heavy-footed. And that's because he's thinking and instead of reacting. And defense is the ultimate game where, ideally, as a D coordinator, you want to put your guys in a position where they're not having to think. They're just able to go out there and play.
Yeah, and trust me, there's plenty of blame to go around everybody. But 18 and 19 look slow. They look uneasy. They look unsure. I don't know what the fix is, but man, we have too many athletes. Guys are going to play on Sunday defensively to be this bad. I'll hang up. Listen, see you guys.
Thanks. Can you simplify in midseason to where they can get a better grasp on this? I mean, don't you have to you got a game plan for who you're playing against, but can you simplify?
That's what I don't know, because maybe this is just a defense where, in a traditional 4-3, but I mean, I guess the same thing in 3-4. I mean, you're generally asking your Mike linebacker to be the quarterback of the defense right now, and it looks like Damone Clark's kind of struggling with what the calls that Bo Pelini is asking him to make and the adjustments that he's asking him to make, and that is kind of spreading out the defense. So that kind of speaks to some maybe just core disconnects that would be hard to get righted midseason. But look, the last moment where we felt like this was probably the Mississippi State into Troy losses, and out of that, a new defense did actually emerge. Like a phoenix from the ashes, right? Now, they weren't great, but they improved a lot. And Devin White was the catalyst for that improvement. I just have to wonder if there is somebody capable of being a similar type of catalyst this season.
It would help if they all started playing hard at the same time. That would be a step in the right direction no matter what the schematics were.
Yeah.
499-9898 is the number to call. Wesley in Baton Rouge is next. Wesley, welcome into the show.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that blocked field goal late in the game. As soon as I saw that field goal blocked, I knew that was going to hurt. Although that's sad, it came down pretty much to a blocked field goal where you could lose a game. But
yeah,
if you make that field goal late in the game, you can win it with a field goal there at the 1 yard line.
Yeah, in a 4-point game, you can do a whole lot of what if and on one play. I didn't see where the block came from. It
was on Cade York, who
Okay.
I feel bad because he's been fantastic this season, but it was a line drive kick. It was super low, like no lift on it whatsoever.
And another thing with the defensive play, I know we got the number 4 recruiting class in the country, and you got a shot at the number 1 and 2 pretty much defensive line players in the country. How do y'all think this affects recruiting going forward?
Thank you, Wesley, for the call.
It's a great question.
It's my experience that game results are usually pretty far down the list when it comes to recruiting, and that's wins or losses. Because if you win, you can always say, well, then the winning teams will get them all. Well, if that were the case, then every 5-star in the country would go to 5 schools, and that's not the case. So, and if you lost, you'd say, well, the teams that lose, they would never get anybody. You make the argument the other way. You say, listen, we're struggling right now. We need you. You can be part of the turnaround. But most often, my experience is that recruiting comes down to individual relationships with coaches and geography. Those two things, to me, are always at the top of any recruit's list, regardless of what the record is. They develop a relationship with a coach, or they don't. And if you do, every now and then you see a kid, wait a minute, that kid's right in this school's backyard. How'd they let him get away? More often than not, it's either he didn't have a good relationship with the coach, they didn't hit it off, they didn't connect, or you get a kid that says, well, I don't like it here. Okay, I have a negative feeling about where I live, where I grew up. I want to go somewhere else. Or you get a kid that says, no matter what happens, I'm staying home. And I'll give you 2 examples. Kevin Falk decided he wanted to stay home. LSU was not a winning program when Kevin Falk came here. He wanted to stay home. He wanted to be a part of something that was going to be turned around. He could have gone to Florida State. He could have gone to Miami. He could have gone to Notre Dame, all of which were better programs than LSU at the time. There was another linebacker, and I'm not going to name him, but he was out of New Orleans, and this was in the mid-'90s. And LSU went down to recruit him, and they were on a home visit, and the kid was on the front porch of his house, and he was in tears. And this is at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And they asked him, what's the matter? And he said, I just watched my best friend get shot. I got to leave. I got to leave the state. I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
And he ended up going somewhere else. He was a very good player. And there's nothing you can do about it in that case. You know, you get a kid that's made up his mind that he wants to stay or he wants to leave. And then it becomes relationship with the coaches. Those things almost always matter more than if you won or lost on a blocked field goal or a busted coverage.
I definitely agree with you to an extent. And I think there are certain guys that absolutely, like, game results mean almost nothing.
Tell me, only one of us at this table has been recruited,
well,
and
I mean,
it ain't
no,
me.
but,
So
but,
you tell
but
me
no,
how
but
you
no,
know.
but for me, Hanny, I think I fall into exactly what you were talking about. I was going to LSU no matter what. I grew up a hardcore LSU fan. I loved LSU. It didn't matter if they were like 2-8. I was probably still going to go play for LSU. Just happened to be they were good at the time. So I don't know that single game results matter, and I know that for a lot of recruits, maybe no game results matter. But I do think that bad trends can kind of break through to have an effect. When you're talking about the margins between trying to be the number 1 overall class and the number 5 to number 7 class, those are margins where you have to get all those guys. And I do think the best way to get all those guys is for people to feel good about the overall health of your program. Like, you can explain away one result. If it's a bunch of results throughout the season, then maybe some schools come in, and if they're recruiting the same guy, they say, oh, look, look, man, last year it was a one-time thing. Why would you go there? Look, they can't guarantee. Look how they've fallen off. And so I don't want people to hit the panic button yet, because you're not there yet. But I do think if you don't want recruiting to be affected at all, I do think you may need to stabilize a bit here, because you can fool me once, right? Like I get delicious homemade Vietnamese pho from my girl Diana Vincent, right? It's delicious. First time I had it, it was great. Okay, so I was like, okay, I'm going to come back for more. Second time I had it, oxtail bone broth, even better. I know that pho is going to be good every time I get it. The recruits, if they see too much of this bad, they're going to start thinking the same thing about the LSU defense.
Okay, I didn't quite get the food analogy.
I went out of my way to give my girl Diana a shout out because she makes delicious homemade pho.
Then that's fine. Brian is in Denham Springs. Brian, welcome into the show.
Hey man, thanks for having me. Listen, I know that we're kind of harping on Bo here, and rightfully so, right? But how long has Corey Raymond's been here for? Well over a decade, am I right?
I don't think it's quite been that long, but
it seems to be that long.
Corey's been here for 7 or 8 years for sure. It's closing in on that, yeah.
We'll call it a decade, right? We'll call it.
Yeah, it's close.
Anyway, so in the last decade, we've been able to hang our hat on our defensive backs, right? And I feel like you can argue that at this point it's our weakest part of our defense. Now, I mean, obviously a pass rush, it dictates a lot what goes on in the backfield. But watching the game today on the TV screen, there was, I think, 2 or 3 times where a Missouri player caught the ball, and nowhere on the TV was anybody in white and gold, So, man, how much does this fall on Corey to get these young men ready, right? He's recruited all of these kids, right? I mean, Bo's in 3 games, and it's like the secondary, they're week in and week out, they're lost.
Thank you, Brian.
So correlation does not always equal causation. That's a trap that we can fall into many times. But in this case, Corey Raymond's resume on the whole speaks for itself. So if it's always been good and now it's not, I mean, you kind of have to look at correlating factors. And right now, Hanny, it's just impossible not to look at the fact that the fall in the defense correlates directly with the arrival of Bo Pelini and how confused it all looked out there. So I don't know that I can sit here and put this on Corey Raymond, given his entire body of work over 10 years. He'll get a pass in my book.
We'll take a break. We'll come back with more of your phone calls. We're brought to you by Home Bank. Good for business, good for life. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
When morning came to Louisiana, we were hopeful, not hibernating. We were mending fences, feeding neighbors, and holding our kids. When morning came to Louisiana, we were wide awake, planting seeds for next year's crops. We were stronger, ready for what's next. And together, as we build anew, Blue Cross stands ready to support you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
Eagle 98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day, brought to you by Home Bank. Good for business, good for life. 499-9898 is the number to call. Ron is in Baker. Ron, welcome into the show.
Yeah, I'm watching these other games, and all these players are a lot bigger than LSU. Their defense, like they got 8 safeties. There's no big people, and they don't want to hit because they're so small. What do you think about that?
I think that's 100% wrong. Glenn Logan weighs 340 pounds. Apuaika weighs 345 pounds if he skipped breakfast. That's the interior of the defensive line. Ali Gay's about 260 pounds at defensive end. Andre Anthony on the other side is probably about 235, 240. Cox and Clark are somewhere in that 230, 235 range. Stingley, every defensive back is well over 6 feet. Stevens weighs 235 pounds, probably, give or take. Size is not the problem.
Huge.
Size is not the problem. Jules is in Abbeville. Jules, welcome into the show.
Hey, let me say I'm listening and watching the show on YouTube.
Oh, hell yeah, Jules.
And the best thing about the show so far,
My chest hair? I agree.
are the facial expressions that T-Bob makes on the front to back boat commercial.
Well, the fact that you got past the shirt and the chest hair is impressive. So.
Okay, so did Bo demand 2.3, or did Ed just throw that out?
Only their agents know for sure.
Did what?
Did he demand $2.3 million? I don't know. I do know that the most peculiar part of it, not peculiar part, but the most interesting thing to me was Nebraska paid Pelini up until about a year before he left Youngstown State. And so the compensation on that deal, Youngstown State was paying him, I'm doing this out of my head, so if I'm off a little bit, but it was somewhere in the area of $300,000. Or something like that, and Nebraska was picking up the rest of the freight that got him to somewhere around $2 million. I think it was picking up about $1.5 million from Nebraska. And then when that money went away, then Bo wanted to go coach somewhere else. He ended up here. How contentious that negotiation was, I have no idea.
I mean, I don't know either. Outside looking in, it did feel like you were kind of bidding against yourself, given that wasn't a name that was floating around a lot of circles.
That kind of money?
I think the argument at the time was, because I supported the hire, I think the argument at the time was that he was such the right man for the job, but so comfortable where he was at that you had to almost bid him out of that shell and bid him back into the fold. And whether that was a smokescreen by Pelini's camp or not, they obviously were able to use that as leverage to drive up the price, as well as with what the last guy was being paid, right? I mean, that's a point of leverage in any contract negotiations. But that it reached the heights that it does feel a bit odd, especially considering that it wasn't like he was a name that was being bandied about in a ton of coaching circles.
One last thing, and that is with the talk about Bo being fired. As far as I'm concerned, I'd like to see him go 1-9, because I think that way that would guarantee Pelini is gone, considering the problem the rest of the season is going to be the defense. So I'm happy going 1-9 and let the chips fall where they may. Anyway, love the show, fellas. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you,
right.
Jules.
Oh, yeah, Jules. I'm not there yet. Like, I still want to allow room for improvement. Like, I'm not so set in being frustrated right now that if they were to turn things around, like, I'm so open to be proven wrong. I'm begging you to prove us wrong. I was begging you to prove us wrong today. That's why, I mean, I legitimately thought that the defense was going to kick ass today. I thought there was no chance that Missouri was going to score over 17 points. I thought that I saw a lockdown of last week's game that I really liked. I thought Glenn Logan would help defend against the run. I thought they had figured some things out after the slap in the face of game one, and just none of that took place. But I'm still open it to take place. I hope that it does, and so if it does, I'll be happy. Because that means that the future could still be bright if you see that improvement. We just hope that we have to see some improvement.
Rick is in Mandeville. Rick, welcome into the show.
Yeah, hey, hi, guys. The sad part about this, losing's losing. Right? It's bad enough to lose, but to me, how you lose is real important.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't get the turnovers that we got, you realize how bad the score would have been?
Yeah.
And that's the scary part about the whole thing as far as I'm concerned. And as far as the defense, doesn't look like they're playing with any emotion. Do they have internal problems? Because you never know that, because the coaches won't tell you that. But I just don't think they're playing with any fire to me.
Because they're not. I mean, it's very obvious. Now, why? I don't know. I'm not in that locker room. T-Bob, you're not in that locker room. You can't get in individual guys' heads, but they're definitely not playing.
Well, I know that, but I know this year, and I don't know if this even matters. There was some talk about Ryan Clark coming in and causing dissension at the university.
No.
I remember
Nah.
You
No,
know,
that's a reach. That ain't it. That ain't it. I mean, it's just.
I mean,
not.
is that not an issue?
No.
Well, then you know, I just, as far as Pelini's concerned, I think we ought to give him the season and see what happens.
Yeah, no,
You
I mean,
know?
I'm with you, Rick. I think in a leadership position, you can't be as reactive as a lot of us want to be today. And I'm right there with everybody because I'm feeling that same passion that everybody else is. So I agree that you got to give him the season, but we'll see how it goes.
Thank you.
And you got, all right, thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Rick.
Here's my thing, okay? And I keep coming back to this because it is such an enormous part of this program. So many of these kids have gone pro early. I mean, an enormous amount of guys compared to other schools. And most of them, not all of them, but most of them have done really well, okay? You've had a few guys that went out when they weren't supposed to, but the overwhelming majority has done really well. So let's say you don't like the coach, or let's say you can't grasp the scheme, or let's say that you got some kind of personal problem or whatever, or you don't like the guy you're playing next to, or you think you're in the wrong scheme, or you think that not hustling is costing you money. Every single play you put on tape where you don't bust it is costing you money. And it doesn't take very much to figure it out. Call anybody. LSU's got a slew of guys in the NFL that were on this team last year, and they're doing really well. Call Joe Burrow. Call Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Call Justin Jefferson. Call
Damian Lewis is balling out.
Yeah. Call any of those guys and ask them what playing at that level last year did for them financially. I mean, take Burrow out of the equation, okay? That's the outlier. I mean, that's the moonshot. That's A Star Is Born. That's Justin Jefferson. How much money did he make himself last year by absolutely killing it? Yeah. Damian Lewis, who was a junior college player, how much did he make himself? Clyde Edwards-Helaire, how much money did he make himself? And you can go down the list. Almost all of them. Almost all of them. And so you call a guy and you say, man, hell with this team. I'm not going to play hard for this guy because I don't like him. Well, guess what? Costing you money.
Yeah, and the not playing hard again. I don't think that comes from not liking the coach. I think it comes from being confused.
Okay, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything but that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything but that.
Which is still a function.
Because they can have any number of their former teammates call them and say, dog, you losing money.
Yeah.
Get with it. Jonathan in Baton Rouge is next. Jonathan, welcome into the show.
Yes, sir. How you all doing today?
How you doing, Jonathan?
Hey, I've been listening at what all your callers been calling in, talking about, and what you all been elaborating on. But from what I can see, it's coaching. Those kids are not in the right place to make plays.
No argument.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk all day, but let me tell you what needs to happen. Bo Pelini needs to walk into a Orgeron office the first thing in the morning with a resignation letter in his hand. Because let me tell you why.
I saw it 500 yards worth of and 45 points worth of why.
But I will say this. I will say that, Jonathan, I think you can appreciate this. If I'm getting paid $10 million to get fired, I don't know if I'm going to hand in my letter of resignation.
I'm not.
But let me ask you a question. Let me tell you something. If that would have just happened one time, you could say giving the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
But this happened twice against two teams that don't measure up nowhere with LSU.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what's going to happen. It's going to happen again. Because if you don't coach them kids up and get them going right, you're going to get blown out again, especially this week. Who you playing? Florida? And Florida can come back because they lost today. You know they're going to be ready to play.
Yeah.
They're going to score lots of points. They've got a lot of the same defensive problems that LSU does, to be honest with you. I watched almost all of that game today, and they've got a lot of the same problems that LSU does. Now, not that they not that they have a lack of hustle, but I'm talking about some of the coverage problems, some of the pass rush problems. There's a lot of similarities there. Offensively, they're elite. Okay, Trask. Look, they came up short today, but that guy can play.
If you couldn't stop Bazelic in a Missouri offense that was bottom 4 in every offensive category and scored 2 touchdowns, and Tennessee held him to 13 and they couldn't move the ball at all. Like, if you couldn't stop them, I don't know what the hell you're going to do with Kyle Pitts in Florida next week. It's just like, can you avoid getting steamrolled? Can you be that bend but don't break? Can you hold the field goals? Can you do anything?
You can score points. It might end up 45-41.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But so to win that game, like defensively, can you just stop them twice? Maybe some field goals some other times. Hope they screw up as well.
Playboy Marty's doing. He's our videographer today. Playboy Marty, you're the king of the prop bets around here. What's the likely over/under for Kyle Pitts' catches and yards next week? Now they pretty much did what you could on him today. 5 catches, 47 yards, and a touchdown. What is it next week?
I'd say for catches it would be 5.5.
Okay.
Or maybe 6.5, and then yards I would say 115.
115. I want over on the catches for sure.
Yeah, maybe the only reason I take the under on the yardage is because a lot of those catches will just be touchdowns from like the 10 or 12.
Right.
Or the 5.
Opt out on that. JD?
I will say this. If you're into tight end play, if Arik Gilbert's healthy, I don't know if you're going to find 2 better tight ends on the field at the same time.
I'll take over. If he's healthy, I'll take over on him too.
Kyle Pitts and Arik Gilbert.
JD in Jackson, Mississippi. JD, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. You mentioned something a while ago about possible problems in the locker room, and we don't get that kind of news up here in Mississippi. Can you elaborate more on that?
No, we're not getting that. We're not getting that news here in Baton Rouge either. A caller asked about it, and I'm like, how would we know? I mean, we're not in the locker room. We're not in those kids' heads.
Yeah.
So we really don't think that's it. If it is, we don't know about it.
I will say this, because generally we would hear whispers if I thought that was like a huge problem. But nothing does sow division more than adversity, right? Like nothing can break apart a team's chemistry more than a team struggling in the way it is now. So that's why I talk about this being nut check time. Adversity reveals the man, okay? It's easy for everything to be copacetic when things are going well. How do you react when things are going poorly? Ultimately, how you respond to that is what's going to decide what kind of man you are and what kind of team this team is going to be.
All those defenders got to go over there and face Terrace Marshall. Terrace Marshall is Yeah. Is there any doubt that he's given every single thing that he's got and he's playing well? Okay. Is there any doubt that Miles Brennan is doing what he can? Is there any Deculus they had to drag back on the field after he had gotten knocked out? Okay. Is there any doubt that he's doing what he can? Is there any doubt that Ty Davis-Price runs the ball real hard when they give it to him? And if you're the defense, you got to go look at those cats and say, sorry.
Dude, what if you still have Jamar Chase?
Well,
I know.
How many more points? Can he play defense?
I know we can't open that wormhole. I know. I'm just saying with how good the offense has been, dude. If you also had Chase and Marshall and Gilbert, it'd be unbelievable.
We'll take a break. Back with more of your phone calls. Missouri wins at 45-41, and LSU is in a 1-2 hole. Eagle 98.1 game day.
Protect your home with dependable roof repair and service. GarciaDidMyRoof.com.
WTGL and HD1 Baton Rouge.
I can't tell you how many people tried to discourage me when I said, I'm opening up a haunted house. If you love doing something, don't let anything or anyone stand in your way.
How he comes up with this stuff in his head and designs it is mind-boggling.
Debbie and Home Bank understand my business and understand that it's not normal. They've worked with me since the beginning to help my business grow.
During times of trouble, hope keeps us calm, and courage keeps us strong. Here in Louisiana, we know this better than most. After all, we've faced hardship, but hurricanes and floods never washed away what makes us strong. It's our culture, the spirit of resilience that says rise and rise up again. We'll make it through the tough times, we always do. And Blue Cross will always be here to support you.
Hey, football fans, T-Bomb here, reminding you that Hooters is your headquarters for football. If you can't get in, they still got the Hooters girls, the TVs, the wings, the beer, everything you love about game day. But what if you're watching at your house? Maybe having some people over. You don't feel like cooking? Well, great. Hooters, they have your back. You download the Hooters app. You'll get a free app, and then you go and you pick up the food. You bring it home. Everybody loves you because you got Hooters wings, and game day, it's a match made in heaven. Download the app. Get Hooters to go. Hooters, your headquarters for football.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power.
Eagle 98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day brought to you by Home Bank. Good for business, good for life. 499-9898 is the number to call. We got some of the 2:30 games that are winding down. Georgia putting the finishing touches on a big win against Tennessee, but Auburn's in a dogfight. They are leading Arkansas by 6 with 10 minutes to go at Jordan-Hare. You know, T-Bob.
Gotta love Sam Pittman's Hogs.
Usually when a team, Hester and I have talked about this a lot during the week, team comes off of a big win, okay, when you were a huge underdog. When you win a game outright, when you're better than the 2-touchdown underdog, it's almost impossible to follow it up. 1-7 the last 8 times that it's happened. A 2-touchdown dog has won a game outright. Because this happened in Mississippi State last week.
Yeah.
They're 1-7 the next week, and I didn't think that Arkansas would be able to follow up that effort against Mississippi State last week with another one against Auburn.
And they look dirty. I mean, this thing looks like a classic football game right here.
Yes, this is SEC, big boy football. The uniforms are all going to have to go to the cleaners.
I mean, that is just a beautiful shot of the Arkansas quarterback right there.
That's football, man. That's football. Mr. B is in Houston. Mr. B, welcome into the show.
Hey, Charlie. Hey, T-Bob. Good to talk to y'all. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go back a little bit and then kind of give you a little bit of my own dose of the Pelini situation, then ask you a question if I may.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay, so, going back to 2007, Kentucky, Arkansas, the last time I saw the Pelini with the Tigers, and my gut was not reacting too favorably earlier this year when I heard we were getting him, but I was hoping against all hope that I was wrong. My question for you guys is what hope and what evidence in modern era of LSU football do you guys have that he could actually do this job?
Well, he came back. Okay, so you're picking out the two worst games. Can I pick out some of the best games? You know, in 2006, they beat 4 top 10 programs on the road. They beat Tennessee, who was a top 10 team at that time. They beat Auburn. I'm sorry. Not Auburn. They played 4 top 10 teams. They beat a couple. They beat Ohio State. In that 2007 season, they beat Auburn. They beat Alabama. They beat some very good teams. You know, they beat Notre Dame in the bowl game in 2006.
Yeah.
So he's done some nice things, but that's a long time ago now. Okay. The question now is he adjusting to the modern game, because he's been at Youngstown State for a while. I thought he did a reasonable job at Nebraska. And if he had been able to work and play better with others, then he probably would still have that job based on just his on-the-field record. But Bo's a hothead. He's always been a hothead. And, you know, he got crossways with the wrong people up there, and so he got moved. I don't know if he can adjust to this. I'm basing my trust on Ed Orgeron. He feels like he's the guy to bring in. So at this level, given that O's had way more, success than failure here, and last season being a monster, I trust him. He could be wrong. He was wrong on Matt Canada. He was right on Joe Brady. I'm trusting Orgeron because he's the national championship coach at the moment. But do I know for sure Bo Pelini has adjusted? I don't.
Yeah.
And that's fair how you go back to the good games. And you're right. That's absolutely. I'm just saying, how many years ago was that, and how much has college football changed?
Yeah.
And in that era, what kind of successes he has other than Coach O having faith in him, do we really have to hang our hat on? Because, I remember back to Georgia 2003 Skylar Green catch. That was a program-defining moment, and I saw a swing in the program up. I am legitimately concerned that Bo Pelini, if he sticks around a while, is going to be the same thing on the downside.
I hope you're wrong, Mr. B. But I understand your concern. Look, historically bad defense 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so you want to hear
worse today.
So historically bad. You want to hear something that I just saw on Twitter that reinforces that? This comes from Jason Starrett on Twitter. Including 45 Missouri points today, LSU has allowed more points through 3 games, 96 points, than any other season in program history. The last previous high was 90 points back in 1991. And that is with how much did Vanderbilt score? 7?
7.
Yeah.
Full of good news. Larry is in Lafayette. Larry, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. A quick opinion about the defense and then a question about the offensive line. Defensively, they just seem to be having to think too much, and it's taking away their athleticism. I don't know how simple things are, but it appears that they're having to think too much back there.
We agree there.
All right. Now, so somebody got hurt, dinged up this week. I think it was Ingram. And so then there was talk, I can't remember the kid's name. He's going from defense to offense.
Joseph Evans. He's playing defensive line right now.
Well, my question is this. 2 years ago, we had a recruiting class to where the offensive line group was kind of like the jewel of the class as far as positions are concerned, because they had the big kid from Southern Lab. I believe the Bradford kid was in that class. The big Terry kid from Durham. Guys, what kind of progress are they making? Because if you got to start moving guys around from defense to offense, not any of those kids from that class a couple of years ago have made progress enough to get some playing time on this offensive line. And I'm going to hang up and listen.
Thank you, Larry. So here's what I keep coming back to with the offensive line is the guys that should be available to them this year that are not. Okay. So
because we are talking about planning this from like a roster management type of standpoint, recruiting.
When he got the job, they were down to, I want to say they went into that first camp with something like 11
overall.
Scholarship
at one point in
linemen.
Spring, you were down to 7 or 8 due to injuries.
You were one or two injuries away from having a walk-on have to start. So they built those numbers back up. And before last year, I want to say they went to Camp T-Bob last year. Was it 17 or 18 scholarship offensive line, which is about where you want to be. So I think about the guys that should be available to them today that are not. Sadiq Charles should be available to them today, and he went pro. Same thing with Lloyd Cushenberry. He should be available to them today, and he couldn't go. and he's in the pros. Cordell Thomas should be available to them today, and he's injured. Anthony Bradford should be available to them today, and he's not an option. Ed Ingram should be available to them today, and he's not an option. So that's a third, and that's just off the top of my head, of guys that
and very good players.
And in a normal situation, you would think these guys are supposed to be available to us today. You had to go out. To their credit, they recognized this in time back in the spring to go get a transfer that they needed to play at center. And Shanahan's been okay.
Shanahan's been solid. I'm going to have to rewatch today, but he's been solid.
And you get a guy in Cam Wire who really hasn't had to play or hadn't had the opportunity to play until last week, and I thought showed out pretty well. And then you've got some freshmen on the team like Marlon Martinez that are probably just not ready to go in there full time yet. But I keep coming back to the overall numbers. There's 5, 6, 7 kids that you would think would be available to them today that for various reasons are not.
Yeah, and as far as the O-line goes, so I mean, that's without a doubt having an impact. I don't have a great idea about how I would grade them today. O-line film a lot of times need to be readjusted. Certainly didn't run the ball well. I thought they pass protected pretty well. But when you're talking about running game, the most important position on the offensive line is your guard, and going from Ed Ingram to Charles Turner is just a huge step down in the running department. And you saw that today when LSU didn't seem to get anything going offensively on the ground. In that Auburn-Arkansas game, while we were talking, Hanny, Felipe Franks completed a 4th and 6 game on the line, and then next play, 30-yard touchdown. Arkansas now leads 28-27. Yes, sir!
They are under 6 minutes to go at Jordan Hare, and the Hogs got the lead.
Wow.
Jay is in Florida. Jay, welcome into the show. Jay?
Hey, what's up, fellas?
What's happening, Jay?
Hey, man, thank God for Jim being black.
Well said, Jay.
Couple observations. You remember a couple of years ago at Georgia, we had defensive backs pointing at each other saying, hey, you got him? No, I got him.
2013.
Yeah,
2013. Yeah.
Yeah, I had flashbacks of that. And then at the very end of the game, that was flashbacks of Hurricane Matthew relocation.
The guy that's when Geis went the wrong way?
Yes, the Darius guy. I mean, 1 yard and 4 downs. Come on, man.
I don't disagree. I mean, you feel like they're going to convert in that situation way more times than they're not.
You had all the momentum. But
too. They didn't.
What's so ironic about this game is it came down to the offense at the end, but yet you can't really blame the offense for that game.
No,
it's a great point though, Jay, because you're right. I mean, like the offense did a good job of putting themselves in a position to line that win up, but yeah, they couldn't get it done in the end. But it's not the core problem. It's certainly something, though, if you wanted to avoid the disaster, if you could have just managed to find a way into the end zone, then this entire postgame show has an entirely different tenor, right? We are still yelling about the defense, but we're also celebrating the offense and celebrating this huge step forward that they took, getting it done and finding a way to win that game. And then it makes the defensive problem seem a little less bad and a little more fixable, but those are the margins. That 3 feet between touchdown and end of the game, that 3 feet has decided not just the narrative of this postgame, but really where this season is going as a whole right now.
Thank you for the call. Stephen is in Athens, Georgia. Stephen, welcome into the show.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for having me this evening. 2 quick points I would like to make, and there's a long list of points that are worth bringing up in this game. And I think enough has been said about the defense, but one thing I would like to harp on is Pelini coaches the linebackers, correct? Particularly the middle linebackers on this team?
Yes.
I believe so, yeah. Yeah, because that's where Randall would have left, yeah.
Exactly. And the reason why I bring that up is I've been watching this program since 2001, and we've seen elite defensive play at every single position. But one thing I always thought separated the Alabamas of the world from LSU, at least for a number of years, once Saban arrived in Tuscaloosa, was elite defensive play at the linebacker position. Now, thankfully, with the arrival of Chavis, and then more so even with Aranda, we saw a significant increase in production at the linebacker position.
Yeah, you've been on a heater there. I mean, just look at the names that have come out of that position for LSU recently. It's been astounding.
Exactly. And one thing that's very concerning to me is in looking at this schematic shift from the 3-4 to the 4-3 in the offseason. My father and I were speaking about this at length. We expected that there would be some lumps taken on the defensive front because guys that were recruited to play at nose tackle or play end in a traditional 3-4 are going to be slightly out of position. So that, given with Sheldon leaving and some other potential, injuries and opt-outs and things like that, I expected some difficulties. Now, where I was not expecting us to struggle by any means was you have an FCS All-American transferring in Jabril Cox, a guy slated to be either a first or second-day pick in next year's draft. Damone Clark, who showed at times last year as though he was going to be the next major thumper at that middle linebacker position, that Mike linebacker position, a guy who earned that number 18 in the offseason. The coaches clearly saw something in him that they thought was worth honoring him with said number.
Yeah.
My concern being is that the linebacker positions, I could argue it's been the weakest thus far for the team, and that, you guys have spoken at length about guys looking lost, and there's been some communication issues. But it's frustrating to me to see that Pelini and all his faults and, whatever scheme they're trying to run at this point, which I honestly can't say I'm aware wholly of, what the defensive identity of this team is beyond, quote-unquote, a 4-3 or a nickel at this point. But it's so unfortunate to see the linebackers failing to live up to the expectations and failing to play up to the potential that we've seen with the prior two coordinators.
I don't know that what Pelini's trying to implement here is reinventing the wheel or anything. I mean, it seems like it's a pretty normal scheme, okay? I mean, it's a 4-3. It's an even front. It's an odd front. I mean,
like most things,
he's not doing something that's groundbreaking, and they go, oh wow, this has never been tried before, and this is not working before. It seems like it's fairly pedestrian, right?
Like most things in life, it comes down to the execution, right? Like there are plenty of great. Think about movies that you've seen that you've been very excited for, and the core premise seems so damn good. There was so much good there, but ultimately the execution of the movie left a bit to be desired. They just didn't do well. They had a good story, they didn't do well, right? Well, okay, so you can be installing.
Today was Ishtar.
So you can be installing a new defense. Today, you can be installing a new defense, right? And it doesn't have to be reinventing the wheel. But you're failing in your execution. You're failing in your communication of responsibility to the players. That's what Dave Aranda, what we celebrated as one of his strengths for a long time. That's what we're going to compare it to because that's who he had, was that he was able to make things look seemingly complex while they actually didn't require that much decision-making or thinking from the defense. And that was able to kind of maximize the physical potential of his players. And right now, regardless of what Pelini's trying to put in, new or not, because I agree with you, Hannah, I don't think it's anything new, the execution of communicating responsibility is just failing, it feels like.
You know what I'd like to know is how many people that are listening actually got that joke I just told, because then I could tell you the average age of our
I don't
audience.
actually know what Ishtar is.
Okay.
Is that
Ishtar was a very high-budget movie in the 80s. It starred Warren Beatty and Dustin Hoffman, who were both coming off of Oscar-winning performances in other movies, and this was like heralded as the greatest script and the greatest cast, and it was one of the biggest bombs ever. So when you said a movie with a good premise that just doesn't work, Ishtar,
it kind of feels like this
you learned something today, right? Yes,
kind of feels like this LSU Ishtar.
Today was Ishtar.
Does Waterworld fall into that same category?
It's just later. Okay, I'm just older that way. Take a break. We'll come back with more Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
When morning came to Louisiana, we were hopeful, not hibernating. We were mending fences, feeding neighbors, and holding our kids. When morning came to Louisiana, we were wide awake, planting seeds for next year's crops. We were stronger, ready for what's next. And together, as we build anew, Blue Cross stands ready to support you.
Foundation failure is common in South Louisiana, and that's why homeowners here turn to a local company they can trust, WCK Foundation Repair.
WCK is the only company that specializes in drilled piers, the ideal solution for Louisiana's unique soil conditions. WCK is locally owned and operated by a group of professionals with years of experience.
Learn more about the signs of foundation failure on WCKFoundationRepair.com. Call for a free estimate. WCK Foundation Repair. Support the home team.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Eagle 98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day brought to you by Home Bank. Good for business, good for life. Back to the phone lines. Paul is in Houston. Paul, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. I appreciate you taking my call. Hey, I'll tell you what, he's got some long faces over here in Houston, man. These Texas fans are got the, all depressed, man. They're having a tough one this year.
Yeah, I love
it.
it.
It's a heck of a game today.
Misery loves company, and I'm here for all the favorites to lose so that we can all be miserable together. I'm looking at you, Auburn.
Hey, you might want to do a welfare check on Moscona, man. I mean, his boy Hammer's not having a good season this year, So
No. Herman. I mean, actually, I was going to say Jimbo, but Jimbo got the big win today. What are you going to do?
Hey, I don't want to beat the dead horse on the defense. I do have a point on the defense, but offensively,
yeah.
They did enough to win. You can't, make really any kind of critiques on the offense. The only issues I had was they were, they allowed some of the blitzes to come through, and Miles got popped a few times today. But they were 0-10 on third down.
Yeah, no, there are areas. I want to be clear, bro. There are areas to critique on offense. It was not a perfect performance. It's just that it wasn't the main problem, and it was good enough. Yeah, but 0-10 on third down is really wild. Like really, really wild. Especially in a game where you score this much and have this much offensive success. It's almost like something is going abysmally wrong to specifically somebody have something break down on every single third down so that you can't convert it. And the problem is this is a trend now because it wasn't good in game one. You did a much better job of getting to third and manageable in game 2. It
You get no
still
credit
wasn't
for
good
Vanderbilt.
then.
You get no credit for Vanderbilt.
So that's where the red flag comes in. You still weren't good on third down against Vanderbilt.
No.
And then you were bad again today. So offensively, priority number 1 has to be figuring out on third down. There can be no question about that. I think to Handy's point, I think short yardage situations, this LSU offense of 2020 needs to find a different identity than did the 2019 one. And there are still periods at this time, and today it was due to a bit of a lack of ability to run the ball, or maybe a lack of calling running plays. There's still some dry stretches with this offense that you would ideally want to avoid.
Matt is in Baton Rouge. Matt, welcome into the show.
Yes, sir. I was calling. I know we're speaking about the defense and the way we're playing today. What really scares me is, we got guys sitting at home and they see our defense playing the way that it plays. I know our recruiting class for 21 and 22, we've got a really great start for 22, but I'm wondering, some of these top guys on the offensive and defensive lines that we need. You look at Ohio State and they're bringing in 2 5-star offensive linemen on the same day. What do you think these guys are saying? Is that a bad sign for some of the recruits that we're targeting?
No, they're saying that, hey, I can come in and play right away.
Yeah, so that would be the spin zone there, right? If you're LSU, and it's something that you've seen Coach O do in the past, where after the Alabama game a couple of years ago, he mentions we need to get better on line immediately in the postgame. That was a subtweet to the major D-line prospects that they were trying to get in here. So, look, as long as you can avoid unmitigated disaster, which admittedly at this point feels far more real than it ever did before, but as long as you can avoid unmitigated disaster, I don't think this should affect recruiting too much.
The last team that raised the national championship trophy was this one. Happened less than 10 months ago.
Yeah.
Okay. You go to a recruit and you say, listen, that's what we can be.
Yeah.
We've done it 3 times in the last 17 years. You saw us do it more. 3 different coaches, and you saw us do it more recently than any other team in college football. We had those guys leave. We want to get back to that status now. We need you.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, it's a powerful recruiting argument, I think. Josh is in Destin, Florida. Josh, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I listen to y'all during the week, man, and I love both y'all shows. So
oh, thank you, man. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah. Look, I'm a bit of a pessimist, so forgive me.
Okay. Hey, look, being able to self-evaluate is key in this life.
Sweet, man. Thanks. Yeah. So, how confident? I've always kind of subscribed. I was kind of like with Matt Moscona with Ed Orgeron coming aboard. I'm not calling for his firing or anything like that, but I just was never really confident in him. And last year, I know we won a national championship. I'm glad he brought in Burrow. I feel like that was a lot of Burrow and Brady. That's just my opinion. How confident in you guys are with Orgeron right now? Just a question.
I'm fine with him. I think that they're recruiting at a high level. The program is in good shape. They don't have internal problems in the program that I can see anyway. He may have made a staff faux pas here. He may have made a bad hire. All right.
Right.
There's evidence here early that this is going to go very badly. Now, I hope they turn it around, but he's made bad hires before. He's not the only one. The last time he corrected it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So you get the rest of the year to figure out one of two things. Either, hey, we'll get the problems fixed with this guy, or we'll go get another guy. Those are your choices.
Yeah, and that's what he should be coached for. Look, the thing about Coach O is the overall health of the program is great. Everything's moving in the right direction. Don't be so reactive to these 2 games, because the other thing is oh my God.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
Bo Nix was going to spike the ball to stop the clock and fumbled it. I'm sorry.
That is wild. What just happened?
Pittman almost came out of his mask.
No. So I guess here's what I would say about O is that let's not, just because you're frustrated today, let's not discount the multiple shrewd moves that were made, not only to create 15-0, but even to create 10-3 the year before. Yeah. Like there's ample reason to be very excited about the head man still. But yeah, you course corrected last time. How fast will you course correct this time? I mean, can you avoid the sunk cost fallacy? Right? I tweeted out a picture earlier. The idea that a company or organization is more likely to continue with a project if they have already invested a lot of money, time, and effort in it, even when continuing to do so is not the best thing to do.
So far, the defense is new Coke.
Yeah, exactly. And what did Coke do? Right? I mean, yeah. I want him to go back to old Coke though, like early 1900s Coke.
The one with all the sugar in it.
No, the actual cocaine in it.
Oh. All right. That's a good place to take a break. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
I can't tell you how many people tried to discourage me when I said, I'm opening up a haunted house. If you love doing something, don't let anything or anyone stand in your way.
How he comes up with this stuff in his head and designs it is mind-boggling.
Debbie and Home Bank understand my business and understand that it's not normal. They've worked with me since the beginning to help my business grow.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're Jani-King, a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
Jani-King, the king of clean.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents.
Eagle 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Stat check.
And we take a look at the yardstick. Every bit as ugly as the game was. First downs, Missouri 25 first downs to 20 for LSU. Total yards 586 for Mizzou, 479 for LSU, 406 through the air for Mizzou, 430 for LSU through the air. Rushing 180 yards on the ground. Gross. 5.5 yard average for Missouri. 49 for the Tigers on 20 carries, about 2.5 yards per. Penalties, 6 on the Missouri Tigers for 55 yards, 4 for 30
You've been
for
so
LSU.
good at penalties, too. That's
Yeah.
another thing. You've been so
Yeah.
good at penalties and turnovers.
Turnovers, 3 for Missouri, none for LSU. Time of possession, almost a wash, 30-49 for Mizzou, 29-11 for LSU. Third down efficiency, gross. 5 for 10 for Missouri, 0 for 1 on fourth down. 0 for 10 for LSU. The Tigers did convert on 1 of 2 fourth downs. Individually for LSU, Miles Brennan, 29 of 48, 430 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 9 yards per attempt. Connor Bazelak, 29 of 34. He threw 5 incompletions. 406 yards, 12-yard average, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions.
I tried telling you all week, Bazelak. I mean,
Right.
you can only hope to contain him.
How the hell did Ole Miss get down to
No,
first
they just
and
hit
goal?
a big play. It was a beautiful play design to the tight end. Great throw by Corral. And they got down there, and, yeah, now I don't know.
Okay. Larry Roundtree, 18 carries, 119 yards for Missouri. Tyler Badel, 5 carries for 39 yards and a touchdown. Ty Davis-Price, 9 carries, 38 yards and a touchdown. The high man for LSU. John Emery only carried twice today. Missouri receiving, despite not having 3 of their top 5. Tuskegee Dove, 6 catches for 83 yards and a touchdown. Terrace Marshall, monster game for LSU. 11 catches, 235 yards, 3 touchdowns, 21.4 yard average, and Ole Miss is in the end zone.
A really nice play call from Ole Miss.
I got it.
Okay, so faked a quarterback draw with a back as the lead blocker, and then it turned into a jump pass with the back getting behind the defense.
Listen, Kiffin's got some schematic.
He could draw up an offense.
He's got some gadgets for tonight. I mean, I don't think they can win because I don't think they're going to stop Alabama. Alabama could have left the punter home.
Okay, Arkansas laterally, and this is always a dangerous place for. Oh, Frank screwed
it's
up.
over. Auburn got a call. Bo Nix fumbled and
Yeah.
they didn't call it. Eric Gilbert, 6 catches for 97 yards and a touchdown. Defensively, Nick Bolton, 11 total tackles for Missouri. Damone Clark led LSU with 9 tackles, 5 solos, and 1 tackle for loss, and yet we didn't feel like he played very well. Jabril Cox, 8 total tackles, 5 solos, and 2 tackles for loss, and I didn't think he played particularly well either. And let's see, punting. Zach Von Rosenberg's having an all-SEC season, right?
He's doing great.
Averaged
Which
45
is kind of funny
yards
because
a
he had
kick.
a down year last year.
Yeah, 3 inside the 20 out of the 5. Missouri punted 1 time, so I must have slept through that, but it was a 66-yard punt.
That was
by
maybe after the hold?
McInnes.
Was that a missed field goal? I don't know.
I don't know. Feels like it was in some other game. And that is your stat check. We're back with the scoreboard in a moment. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Okay, so we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. Looks like the computer's maybe freezing up. Hanny, you're going to enjoy this.
Yeah.
I think it applies to today's game.
Okay.
This LSU team a little bit right now. So, you know our guy Joe Kress, Stranger Things fame,
Yeah.
among many other films. Helped me a ton with Purple and Gold last year. He's the man. So he is also a fan of Ishtar. And I don't know how he had this ready to roll. He said he loves it in a Rocky Horror Picture Show kind of way. But he has sent me a newspaper clipping review of Ishtar,
Yeah.
a picture of it.
The critics hated it.
Ishtar, a bloated, disjointed, and ponderous mega-buck vanity production that might have been satisfying as a smaller film, but sinks under its own weight. Warren Beatty and Dustin Hoffman star as a pair of inept would-be singer-songwriters who travel all the way to North Africa to get a booking. Wow. If bloated, disjointed, and ponderous megabuck vanity production doesn't sound like the LSU defense right now, I mean, I don't know what does. It's Ishtar, Annie. You nailed it.
Didn't you do a poll or something like this? Movies that are so good, so bad they're good? Or
I have not yet, but I do. That is certainly something that we could do on a tier list. Like, so bad they're good.
We got that, I think, in Ask Us one day. It's like, what movie that's absolutely terrible, but you love it anyway?
For me, Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. It may not be absolutely terrible, but I get that like people don't like it. But I'm not going to sit here and stump that it's some sort of cinematic masterpiece. I am absolutely obsessed with it. This random movie, Sucker Punch by Zack Snyder, I watched a lot. Nobody really liked it. So I mean, yeah, there's something that speaks to you.
Okay.
For sure. What would you say? What is your so bad that it circles all the way back around to being good?
Armageddon. It's the reason people, and I just thought it had some catchy dialogue, and it makes me laugh in a sophomoric kind of way, but it came out the same year as a movie called Deep Impact, and they were both about an asteroid coming to destroy the Earth. And
I remember
when the
Deep Impact scared the hell out of me as a child.
And Deep Impact is probably, I don't know if it's a better movie or not, but it is scientifically like a million times more accurate.
Yeah.
So everybody that saw Armageddon said that nothing in this movie is realistic. Okay?
Yeah, but it was so badass.
So bad that it was.
It was so badass
good.
too. When they're like, we got to get this awesome oil driller to blow up this.
Exactly.
Like,
and,
sure, like astronauts can't train to do those same jobs. I mean, they're pretty good at training for stuff.
But, but I like Bruce Willis. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's something to be said about certain guys who have a je ne sais quoi, just a charisma that you can feel through the screen, and you cannot help but like them. They can elevate projects.
We successfully filled for 1 minute and 15 seconds. Musso has fixed the computer. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At GMFS Mortgage, thanks to you, we've been changing lives for over 21 years. So far this year, that includes providing thousands of meals for the homeless, donating and helping raise $125,000 for the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, feeding hundreds of police officers during the stay-at-home order, and feeding local nursing homes. So if you're ready to buy, build, renovate, or refinance, choose a local lender that's changing lives in our community. Choose GMFS Mortgage today.
During times of trouble, hope keeps us calm, and courage keeps us strong. Here in Louisiana, we know this better than most. After all, we've faced hardship, but hurricanes and floods never washed away what makes us strong. It's our culture, the spirit of resilience that says rise and rise up again. We'll make it through the tough times, we always do. And Blue Cross will always be here to support you.
Foundation failure is common in South Louisiana, and that's why homeowners here turn to a local company they can trust, WCK Foundation Repair.
WCK is the only company that specializes in drilled piers, the ideal solution for Louisiana's unique soil conditions. WCK is locally owned and operated by a group of professionals with years of experience.
Learn more about the signs of foundation failure on WCKFoundationRepair.com. Call for a free estimate. WCK Foundation Repair. Support the home team.
Eagle 98.1. The Lentz College Football Scoreboard. Lentz, your comprehensive ear, nose, and acute illness experts.
All right, we'll give you games in progress. Alabama's just answered the Ole Miss touchdown. Extra points to come will make it 7-7, 5.5 minutes into that one. Third quarter score, Navy leads Temple 21-10. Just before the half, actually early second quarter, East Carolina leads South Florida 24-7. Florida State gets a field goal on their opening drive. They lead Notre Dame early, 3-0, 3 minutes into that one. La Tech leads UTEP 7-0 halfway through the first quarter. Marshall over Western Kentucky by the same 7-0 score 5 minutes in. No score, Mississippi State and Kentucky. They have just started. Same thing for Miami and Clemson about 4 minutes into that one. Earlier finals today. Number 13, Auburn caught a break at the end. Looked like to us that Bo Nix had thrown in an attempt to spike the ball to stop the clock, fumble a snap, turned around and spiked the ball in what looked like a backwards motion. Officials ruled that it was not, that the whistle had blown. Auburn got the spike. Auburn kicked the field goal. Auburn wins the game 30-28. Felipe Franks threw for 318 yards and 4 touchdowns for the Hogs. Final in overtime, Boston College beat Pitt 31-30. Playboy Money, see if you can figure out what happened here, because Boston College scored and Pittsburgh answered and lost by points. I don't know if they missed the extra point or they went for 2 and they missed, but they lose out by 1 point here. Number 3, Georgia handles number 14, Tennessee, 44-21. Stetson Bennett threw a couple of touchdown passes for UGA. Upset in College Station, number 21, Texas A&M beats number 4, Florida. LSU's next opponent, 41-38. Kellen Mond, it's the game he's been waiting his whole life for. 338 yards and 3 touchdowns in a win over a top 5 team. Isaiah Spiller, though, it was just as important. 174 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground for Texas A&M. Hey, you can run the ball on them, people. Just saying. Number 8, North Carolina over number 19, Virginia Tech in a wild game, 56-45. Sam Howell threw 3 touchdown passes for the Tar Heels. Number 15, BYU, who's just been drilling everybody, had their problems today, but survived Texas San Antonio 27-20. Zach Wilson, kind of a dark horse Heisman candidate, threw for 292 yards and 2 touchdowns. Number 22, Texas and Oklahoma had themselves a game. Sooners win it 53-45 in 4 overtimes. At the end, Oklahoma had a 32-yard field goal to win it. Missed. This was after a 31-yard field goal for Texas that would have given them a 3-point lead. Was blocked. As it was, Oklahoma got the touchdown and the 2-point conversion in overtime. Sam Ehlinger, who threw a couple of touchdown passes today, threw an interception to end the game.
You said you wanted the Pitt Boston College ending? I figured out something crazy for how that ended. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah. What happened?
So Pitt made a 58-yard field goal to force overtime. 58 yards. And then they missed an extra point to lose in overtime. He made a 58-yarder, and then he missed the extra point.
There's putts, and then there's pressure putts.
Oh, my God.
Number 24, Iowa State beat Texas Tech 31-15. Liberty over UL Monroe 40-7. NC State over Virginia 38-21. South Carolina beat Vanderbilt by the same score LSU did, 41-7. Kevin Harris ran for 171 yards and 2 touchdowns. Duke beat Syracuse 38-24. Ugly injury for Tommy DeVito. The Syracuse quarterback came back out on crutches. Looks like he's going to be out a while. Army beat the Citadel 14-9. It was Arkansas State over Central Arkansas 50-27. Troy beat Texas State 37-17. Kansas State over TCU 21-14. And Middle Tennessee beat Florida International 31-28. Last game to kick off goes in about 5 minutes. Charlotte at North Texas. And that is your college football scoreboard. Game balls are next. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
Foundation failure is common in South Louisiana, and that's why homeowners here turn to a local company they can trust, WCK Foundation Repair.
WCK is the only company that specializes in drilled piers, the ideal solution for Louisiana's unique soil conditions. WCK is locally owned and operated by a group of professionals with years of experience.
Learn more about the signs of foundation failure on WCKFoundationRepair.com. Call for a free estimate. WCK Foundation Repair. Support the home team.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to LA Contractor.
Eagle 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Game Ball. Game Ball. Game Ball. Presented by Snap Fitness. Snap Fitness. Get fitter faster at snapfitness.com.
All right, game ball. And you notice I said game ball because we're not giving any game balls to anybody on defense.
No. I mean, I'll just do the obvious. Miles Brennan. Decisive. It was a beautiful deep ball. Still some things to clean up, but I mean, just a spectacular last two games especially, but really a solid season overall for the new quarterback.
29 of 48, 430 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Take that every day. Mine goes to Terrace Marshall, 11 catches, 235 yards, and 3 touchdowns. You know, we had something in the chat, the Bayou Ford chat, about how he should go.
Okay, so Theo Long said Marshall should catch a different flight home and just meet Chase in Arizona.
See, I've only got one thing to rebut that with, because I said before the season, I believe it now more than ever, The only thing that Terrace Marshall has to do to be a first-round pick is prove that he can play an entire season.
Yeah.
Because he missed his senior season of high school with an injury. He didn't get through the whole first freshman year without an injury. Didn't get through his sophomore year without an injury. The scouts, they're going to go through there. They're going to ding him for that. But if he proves he can play an entire season and stay healthy, he's a first-round pick. He might be a first-round pick even if he missed 2 or 3 games, but I wouldn't take that chance. I'd say, listen, I went out and I put up 10 or 11 games. I'm good to go, and then he's a first-round pick.
Yeah, I mean, that's the simple answer. Is the reason why he doesn't do that is because he's actively making himself a lot of money. We talked about a lot of guys losing money today. He has been one who has been making money hand over fist here through 3 weeks.
And he might be a first-round pick, like I said, even if he missed a couple of games. But I'd make sure.
Yep.
Final score, once again, Missouri 45 and LSU 41. For Musso, for Playboy Morty, for T-Bob Baby, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good evening. This has been Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
I can't tell you how many people tried to discourage me when I said, I'm opening up a haunted house. If you love doing something, don't let anything or anyone stand in your way.
How he comes up with this stuff